Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's BSL time. I just looked at the clock. It is definitely BSL time, some Rocket League, and we'd like to welcome you to week number 4. Exactly. I'm JarJam. Together with our league, we'll be bringing you even more games. You thought you already had all the games you could handle. Nope, think again. There will be more games to handle, and this week might be special, or... well, at least I'm hoping it will be special. So, Arlik, your thoughts, just your general feelings coming into this week.
I mean, listen, even like if we look at the context of this weekend, just Rocket League eSports this weekend, nothing's gone to plan. We've seen some of the longest overtimes in their respective series histories. We've seen the top 3 in North America disintegrated. It was Thanos in full Viking ceremony, and goodness knows what the EU side of things is going to bring to us. But before we do go to the EU side of things, we focus here on the Baltics. And there are some, I tell you what, Jam, we have some of the biggest games when we're considering the BESL Season 4 ever, like in terms of how important they could be between deciding both relegation and LAN hopes. We have the likes of first place in the league, Time Chasers, facing Mind Games. Hopefully, we'll get to that in a little bit. And surely got to be the match of the week is our last match of the day. Team Black Diamond versus the Backflip Boys. Again, that could be 2 LAN hopefuls. Well, they are 2 LAN hopefuls, but that could literally be the difference between one of those teams going to LAN and one of them not making it. Week 4, it's halfway through the season, and it's arguably going to be the biggest week of them all.
Yeah, it's the week looks just fantastic. We had some potential for upsets, and the upsets is currently in the air with what you said was happening in both the RL series and North America. Europe still yet to play their week for RLCS, and I'm really hoping today in the evening to see what's going to happen for that as well. Backflip Boys are back finally in action as well with 2 games this week against Team Small Brain and of course Team Black Diamond, who I agree is the stand-up match for this week. Something that to look forward to at the very end of the day. Post-game Strong and Mind Games eSports will be looking for their first win, still searching for that elusive victory. If we just look at the first game, it's tough. It's tough for Mind Games eSports because they're playing against the team that just would like to crush absolutely everyone, and man, it might be tough. It might be tough for them.
Well, it's even worse for them, really. They couldn't have faced Time Chasers at a worse time, because this is the first time since week 1, Jam, where Time Chasers have been at full strength. It's been Sonic V2 subbing in for one person or another for the first couple of weeks. Of course, Time Chasers didn't play last week, so they've had a week's rest, and now they're back up to full strength. Awful. And to make matters worse, Mind Games aren't at full strength themselves. Not only that, but they've been scrambling around in the last 30 minutes. This is how close to the wire they've gotten to find a sub for the sub that we were expecting. We were expecting to say, hey, how cool is this, folks? The first ever North American player to be playing in the BESL. We were expecting Pigeon to come in, Champ 3, Champ 2 player, kind of fits into the style here in the Baltic Esports League, but no, for whatever reason, not happening. In his place instead, from Belgium, we have, or Belgian, he is Belgian, from Belgium. We might have one of the best names ever. Like, I don't genuinely think I'll ever have a better name to say. Breast Quest. I don't care how he plays. I'm just happy that he is playing, because I get to say that name during the next series, be it 3 games or 5.
Seemingly that's if anything, we just get that out of the way. If I'm not mistaken, BreastQuest is either the current or one of the ex-staff members for Mind Games eSports as an organization from the time as when they were running tournaments and such. So it's not an unfamiliar face for them. With Pigeon, it's a bit of a shame. Pigeon, despite being the U.S. national, from what we've been told, he had one of the parents from Estonia, and as such, technically, he can even be considered a Baltic player himself. Indeed, but there are plenty of spots on Mind Games eSports side because the player they're replacing this week, Timotheus, is of course from Netherlands, and that's replacing him immediately. Just uses the same foreign sub spot as you would.
Yeah, I think it's I really do like the system here in BESL. I know that we don't really talk about it that much because it's a given, but I like in particular that this league really tries to push the homegrown talent, and it also allows these fringe fringe players from all over the world, really, I guess, with the opportunity for Pigeon sadly going away for this week. I like that we get to see difference in styles, and I like that we get to see that just that little bit of color from the rest of the world being able to be placed into these teams. I would have loved to see an NA player playing this week. Maybe we will still see Pigeon in the future, who knows, but yeah, it's now down to BreastQuest. I don't know whether it's gonna work out well for them. As I say, I think even with a full strength roster, Mind Games will be struggling to take a game off Time Chasers. But yeah, listen, it is what it is. And to be fair, Jam, again, let's consider what's already happened this weekend. The impossible has happened this weekend. And more often than not in the BESL, we have seen super subs turning up and just running riot. So, hey, BreastQuest could turn up and all of a sudden he's the Mind Games top goal scorer for the entire season.
Yes, something perhaps that they've been really missing all this time, and now he can finally come into strength and just blow everyone out of the water. Could be a possibility, really. Well, actually, as we start, we'll look a little bit into the strength from both of the teams, but you can know for sure that the Time Chasers will not be taking any prisoners in this one. Their players are still the top scorers for the league, and their domination, although it mostly stems from one series against Postgame Strong, and that series was, well, it was rough for Postgame Strong. After that, I don't think Time Chasers really looked the same, but as a counterpoint to that, most likely it was due to the fact that the subs were coming in, and at some points in those series, Trek specifically, had some technical issues. The moment he fixed those technical issues, all of a sudden it was as if from 50% he went to 100%. He's good old usual self, and it's no surprise that Trex right now is sitting at the top of the standings point-wise, and his nearest opponents in those standings are his own teammates.
Yeah, so all three of the main players on Time Chasers. So consider this. Consider that Why Not Party wasn't in the team for the second half of week 1. And I just need to double check. Was it him who was replaced in week 2? Moving back up.
No, Summit.
It was Trex who was... So no, it was Why Not Party who was replaced in the second half of week 1. It was Trex who was replaced in week 2. I mean, Why Not Party and Trex are both in the top 4 for goals scored. Now, okay, there was a bit of stat padding there. We've already mentioned the post-game Strong series. It was complete and utter annihilation of a team that more likely than not is going to be down the bottom end of things, maybe facing relegation come season's end. Of course, remember the bottom 2 from this season get relegated. Everyone else survives another season, or at least, well, it might get back in next year, but they have to go through qualification. Time Chasers is, without a doubt, on paper, the most talented group of players in this league. Why Not Party? I think we're talking an RLRS, I think we're talking a Rival Series, potentially Rocket League Championship Series player in the future. He's young, he has plenty of time to improve. I think Trex, right now, he was a sub for Professional Ball Chasers last season. I think he's the best player in the league right now. We saw a glimmer of what he could do last season when he did sub in. Now he's been given a full season. Goodness me, what a technically gifted player this guy was and is. His presence was missed in week 2. Sonic V2 is a fine sub to have. Easily could get onto any other roster, but he's not Trex. And Minfipai, to glue that whole team together, it's difficult to see them not going 7-0 this season. Then again, we have seen them cutting it close. Again, my mic went weird there. Again, they weren't at full strength. So yes, I think that Mind Games have a mountain to climb today. And if they were to even get a game off Time Chasers, that would be a huge success, just to try and help their game difference by season's end. Because, of course, they're battling relegation as well, Jam, and they will go 0-4 if they lose this one.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for bringing some Halloween spooks into this one as well, because your microphone
too spooky for me.
Your microphone did some beautiful, your microphone stand, right, I suppose, did some beautiful squeaky sounds, and that was just great. Alright, so we are almost ready for our first game. This gives us a perfect chance to just present both of these teams. So on the blue side, for Time Chasers, it's of course to be the full squad, no subs this time. Minfipi, One and Party, and Trex. And got to help Mind Games eSports, MacGyver, Flake, and BreastQuest will be that squad. And yeah, well, you basically said it already. It will be a miracle if they get something going for this one. But I'm pretty sure we can start and get these teams right in the fold, because I am excited for this. You are excited for this. The viewers right now are pretty excited to start this week 4 with a bang. Whoever will get this bang, in whose honor this bang was going to be, we're going to see in just a moment. But for now, let's have this one rolling. 3 hours predictions, I think, from both of us. But yes, obviously, fingers crossed. With the upsets happening this week, I'm all ready for an upset between Mind Games eSports and Time Chasers.
Okay, I'm going to throw another prediction on there just to make it interesting. I think it's going to be a complete shutout. I don't think Mind Games is going to score a single goal.
Wow, all right, that's solid. That is incredibly strong. And well, folks, if anything, you then later can hold our league to this responsibility.
It's a bold move, Cotton. It's a bold move. Exactly. I realize, but it's, as I say, it's just one of those games which the stats go in favor and completely against both teams simultaneously. The Time Chasers arguably have a chance to secure pretty much, they're pretty much there or thereabouts for LAN already. I think 5 games won and you should be there, but 4 games, that means you've won more than half your games in the series. Or in the season rather. That's it's as good a start as you could hope for. Mind Games 0-4. Fate is taken out of their hands. They're going to be relying on others to lose points, and arguably every game until the end of the season is going to be a must-win. Right, on to Champions Field we go, or game number 1. If you're new with us, it is a best-of-5 format. And so the first to 3 wins. Hence, I guess why we were predicting 3-0 sweeps. Okay. Enough of me stumbling over my words. Let's get into the action. Flake looking to control his boost. It's straight towards Minfipi. MacGyver into the midfield. Loose touch. Why not Party over to the far wall? Trek's going to follow it up. Beats Flake to the ball. Minfipi midfield looking for the redirect. MacGyver challenges. Why not Party looks to put it straight back onto the back wall. What a touchdown from Minfipi. But no Time Chasers player was willing to commit. Trex finally comes in with the chip. But BreastQuest with his first save of the game.
There you have it, straight into the game, solid. And speaking of solid, there's Why Not Party. If on initial attack, Time Chasers perhaps looked a little bit reluctant, then here on a follow-up, it's all solid. Look how well they're surrounding Mind Games eSports net. Every single clear, every single hit off the backboard is going their way. They know it. And Mind Games eSports in that particular situation, just sitting a tad too passive.
BreastQuest's car is something. I don't know how to describe it, but it is something. And,
it's kawaii.
Kawaii.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Trex just bringing out the trick books. Why not Party with his second in the first minute? Uh-oh.
Yep, it has already started. BreastQuest with a miss, but MacGyver, really, on the ground, that read was doable. I feel like he was a little bit too close to the ball. Not exactly trying to realizing where that ball can go, and as a result, there's a miss. And we still haven't seen this opening minutes. Mind Games eSports in the attack haven't got the chance to. Well, now there's a ball finally crossed on the other end of the field, but that's a clear. That's not a pass, and nobody's there ready to take it.
The cut to Theoden King on the bastions of Helm's Deep. So it begins. So it begins. Why not Party looking for another Bardowski? Trex takes out Flake. It's cruel. It's awful. They need all 3 players as is. And speaking of 3, it's 3 minutes 33. It's also 3-0.
Oh, it would be great if by this point Mind Games eSports also would have scored 3 goals, but not to be. It's Time Chasers' show, and I wouldn't exactly say that right now Time Chasers are playing at their full potential, at their full speed. They're taking plenty of their time. That is through the fact that Mind Games eSports are giving them that much time, that much space. And once again, one of the biggest problems for our lower, not seeded teams, but lower ranked teams, that problem is backboard clears. Or clears in general, but specifically backboard clears. Time Chasers, this is their bread and butter, playing that ball through the backboard. And we've seen it through Postgame Strong, we now see it with Mind Games eSports. They are struggling with those clears. They're struggling of clearing that backboard. Now an own goal will not come through. Maresquez finally clears it through. Time Chasers were not even anywhere close to that. Just leaving Mind Games eSports be, thinking this is gonna go in. Holy moly, Mind Games eSports will need a cold shower after this game number 1. There's still at least 2 more games to play.
You know, why not Party with this hat trick, by the way? I'm gonna follow up my earlier reference with another reference. It's kind of like the Battle of Helm's Deep, but if the wall had already exploded before the battle had even started. It's just there's no defense. There's no defense from Mind Games, and I think your analysis is so spot on, Jam. It doesn't even look like Time Chasers is trying. I don't think they have stepped out of first gear all in this first half of game number 1. And if they're putting 5 past Mind Games without stepping out of first gear, then the only thing that Time Chasers have to fear for the rest of the, I presume, 17 minutes that we're going to be seeing these teams play is complacency. That's the only thing that's going to undo them at this point.
Finally, Mind Games eSports get out of their own half. You can see a couple of attempts in Time Chasers seemingly rusty in their defense because so far they haven't had the chance to defend their net at all. Get a little bit in an awkward position, but since the Mind Games eSports then themselves sort of killed their chance, the ball just returned back to the orange half. You could see Brestquest just a moment ago rushing towards the ball, trying to save it from a stationary position, but I don't think in that situation he helped his team at all. He's the new player on that roster, and as a result, he might be just going against the grain of the whole team, trying to be the hero, but sometimes just overcommitting way too much and spoiling the whole thing.
I like that chat's already looking to try and help out MG. Spam the tree to help MG. I'll tell you what, they need all the help they can get. Brestquest trying to fake out Minfitby. I don't know whether that was an intended fake out or whether talent just ran out at the end of that play. Either way, it's led to another shot from Minfitby towards MacGyver. It was a double commit in net as well. They get away with it. And speaking of MacGyver, throws up onto the backboard. Flake was trying to get the challenge on Minfitby just to run interference more than anything. Trex, look at this. Goodness me, just freestyling in the middle of midfield. Minfitby's got time to pick up the 100 boost. That's a weak clearance though, and Flake, that's the best opportunity that Mind Games have had to score all game long, and he fluffed it.
It's unfortunate, but from that situation, I can expect RLCS players to really take control of the ball. Not to disrespect Mind Games eSports, but seemingly for them, or at least in that situation for Flake, that was a tad of surprise. He wasn't exactly prepared for it, and he couldn't control this car well enough. And then with 3 players in the net, Mind Games eSports concede on yet another simple shot, really. There's your backboard. Again, there's a series of misses again. MacGyver, Flake, nobody can reach, and then Brestquest, seeing the situation, knowing that the clear didn't come, comes out, but it's too late. Time Chasers once again are first to the challenge, which makes it into a 6-0, which makes it into, well, nothing has changed really about this game. It is still Time Chasers controlling it through and through.
Maybe he should consider changing his name to Defense Quest, because he needs to go on a quest to improve his defense, certainly. It's another early flick over from Brestquest, and is that a goal? Hey, my prediction was wrong. It's not a complete shutout. 6-1, we're on for Brazil.
It's nice for Mind Games eSports to still go on the attack, still to try to test the water, so to speak, seeing what they can potentially do against Time Chasers. This game is beyond saving, but they can really start doing something in the second one. The problem is, the backward issues are still there, and if Time Chaser can utilize that, well, I can see Mind Games eSports still making those misses, still being also very vulnerable, and Time Chasers running away with games again. And it's not like Mind Games eSports can easily stop Time Chasers for making those passes to the backboard. They need to, then they will need to challenge him even earlier, and unless they're really willing to go extra aggressive, it still might be their weakest point.
Well, hey, Brazil denied, and look at that, a nice little interplay between BreastQuest and Flake there as they attempted to go for the bump in net to try and get a second goal. I'll be honest with you, Jam. I realise Time Chasers never really broke out of first gear, but I think that Mind Games have a lot of positives to take into game 2 at least. A, they scored. That's better than I was expecting. Okay, it was only from 2 shots on target, but that's a 50% shooting percentage, which is excellent. Good stuff from you guys, taking the chances when they come along. And to be fair, I was really fearing for them after that first minute. I thought we were going to be seeing maybe an 8, 9, 10-0 scoreline. They only kept it to 6, not even the Brazil reached, so... Okay, we know Time Chasers have another level to shift into, but Mind Games, I think, can at least take some hope from that game. It's not going to be an embarrassment. It's
looking not fully positive, but it's looking like something it can be saved from this situation. And for Mind Games eSports, they've shown some great stuff. As we will start the next game, I would like to show some comparison for the stat lines. And really, I feel like it's Flake who they should be looking for. He has been the driving force behind Mind Games eSports scoring. So as a result, I feel like him stepping up to the plate right now, as long as Mind Games eSports can break out of their own half, that can net Mind Games eSports a couple of the goals. McGarver was always solid when it came to receiving passes in the midfield. He has one strategy. I said it in the nicest ways possible. He's a one-trick pony. When he gets and receives that pass in the midfield, he is working just fine. So, hey, try and go for that and see what happens. So quick showcase. This does not take into account the goals and passes that have been scored so far, but Trex right now leading the overall point standing with 35 points. Minfipai and Why Not Party and follow. And stop the presses. I'm going to even hide those stats. Look who's going to score first. It's Mind Games eSports. Just a simple clear. But this time, Time Chasers were not first to the ball as that clear came in through, and Flake, recognizing the possibility, forgetting all about the previous game score, scored the first one.
Hey Jam, we forgot the context of this weekend and how this is the craziest weekend in Rocket League history.
Of course.
Okay, Mind Games. If you don't know how to defense, learn how to defense, because all of a sudden your offense is looking actually quite threatening and Time Chasers don't know what to do with you. BreastQuest with the challenge double commit from Trex and Minfipai. Flake for the second and denied by Why Not Party. BreastQuest with another shot on target. What on earth is going on? The light switch has been turned on and Mind Games have taken off the mask. Oh my goodness, it's Weite. It's Weite underneath the mask.
That was my thoughts exactly. It has been Weite all this time. Wow. Wrestling will be very, God, I'm lacking that word. I'm at a lack of words right now. Mind Games eSports, all it took from them is just take the control away from Time Chasers, and their possession is just also threatening. Time Chasers themselves are now forced to retreat back in their own shell, try to play carefully. Counterattacks, although still a possibility, so many blocks straight on the player. This was extremely close. BreastQuest was not in position to save that if that would be on target. But he came close. Now nobody in net. This is incredibly scary. And I see Mind Games eSports players even just giving up, seeing that, oh, shot is going on target. I'm not even going to go back into rotation. You have to. You have to be as fast as possible. Whatever happens on the field, at very least try to go in that rotation. Because if it's needed, you'll be in that spot and make a save.
Oh, no, it's the month to be spooky, but this is positively Time Chasers' worst nightmare. They outlined at the start of the season. Hey, you know what? We're not going to try and lose a single game this season. That's what we're aiming for. They're losing to Mind Games. They're losing 2-0 to Mind Games. And the sub BreastQuesters come in not only with a huge save up one end, with 0 boost, by the way. but they've just managed to score up the other end. Trex has decided enough is enough. We need to sort this out, lads. Kickoff goes 50-50, and Trex is already on his way up to make the shot. 1 goal back within 5 seconds of kickoff. This is, I mean, I can't put into words what I'm seeing, Jam. I don't understand anymore. What is Rocket League?
This is Rocket League. Just it's handy to have that. MacGyver a little bit too eager on that last play. He was the last player in the defense. He tried to go for boost, missed the boost, then went for an aerial, but was out of boost to challenge that. Mind Games eSports do concede straight off the kickoff, but the flood has stopped. Time Chasers are no longer, at least so far, able to score one after the other. Nobody in net. This is a tap too high. I mean, Fibai won't be able to take it. And only a bounce off the ground allows Why Not Party to score it against both BreastQuest and Flake coming in strong. But not a fan of that throw the car in front of the ball strategy in this case, because you could see just 2 cars flying in all directions, and neither of them were in the direction of the ball.
Okay, they've woken up from the nightmare of Time Chasers. They're awake, but with a cold sweat. Back to 2-2 or just after half-time, actually. And I agree with you, Jam. I think the Mind Games have kind of just thrown away this 2-goal lead in panic more than anything. Still, overall, BreastQuest coming out with a demo! What a demo! What a demo from BreastQuest and the Nightmare! They've been sucker punched back into it, 3-2.
Trex with his initial save, but that clear was not strong enough. He just barely got in the position, got a touch on it. But the offending player, BreastQuest, goes for a juggler. And gets the juggler, and gets the player, and gets absolutely everything. Immediately, though, Trex off the wall. You better not give him these shots, because he can do something like that. Close. But, you know, just as well that he can put it straight on target. Why Not Party shows Trex how it's done. Little small touches, but man, are they beautiful. That backboard is still all in control of Time Chasers.
And Why Not Party knows exactly how to score from that angle. He did it on the land stage to win the entire thing last season. 3-3. And Mind Games once again asks to do the impossible. Fitby towards the net. Oh, and Flake, that was a weak touch. BreastQuest comes in to bail out the team. Flake tries to get the pinch off the wall, but it doesn't work. Fitby, another shot towards the net. Easily saved by MacGyver. MacGyver once again throws it up onto the wall and manages to get the second touch. Flake to the backboard. And in comes both BreastQuest and MacGyver. Double commit in offense. And here comes Why Not Party now. The infield pass to Fitby. Flake was on the scene. And it's just Trex in defense. But that's a lovely touch to bring it down. And BreastQuest can only take out the car. Trex now to come around the corner. Slowing down the play. Mind Games onto that with a double commit. Flake again. Last man back with a crucial 50-50. Corner. Trex. BreastQuest taken out for his trouble. For getting involved. And once again, Jam, Time Chasers just foot off the pedal, allowing Mind Games to bring themselves out of defense.
And I feel like Mind Games eSports are working the best. Oh, that's a good challenge. Fitby, nope.
Oh,
Also, no Flake.
Oh.
Sideways, supposed to backflip for that save. That 50-50 was great. I feel like Mind Games eSports are playing the best when they're not playing passively, combined with the fact that Time Chasers are sometimes giving them the space, or at the very least not expecting Mind Games eSports to be aggressive. Aggressive playstyle for Mind Games eSports to beat those expectations gets him a lot of control, gets him a lot of these 50-50 challenges, which result in strong clears to the blue side, which result in finally some chances for them. It's when they sit in net and await Time Chasers coming towards them, it's when the majority of these goals are happening, because this just allows Time Chasers to use their favorite place on all of the stadium. It's the orange team's backboard.
Oh. BreastQuest decided that he was a full-on Grand Champ player for every season since Rocket League began there. Why would you try and fake out someone on Time Chasers? Pickpocket, goal number 4. And 10 seconds left for Mind Games to find another one to try and equalize. I mean, to be fair, this is arguably as good as Mind Games has played all season long. It doesn't matter. Why Not Party with another wayward shot? Trek's going to try and, again, pad the stats, trying to get a game or goal number 5. And he is going to get goal number 5. The defender in net left wanting. Ultimately, a 5-3 scoreline makes things look better than they were. But do not look at the scoreline, folks, and say, Time Chasers had this in the bag all along. Mind Games could and arguably should have won that game. Time Chasers getting away with it.
Getting as close as possible, really, to this one. Time Chasers like to keep it themselves on their toes, their fans on their toes. And Mind Games eSports with some great chances. Again, it's Flake. Flake, who has been very instrumental to the Mind Games side. He has stepped up, but the rest of the team also needs to step up more. I feel like if they really see what Time Chasers are doing, recognize when Time Chasers are pulling a little bit back, recognize when the aggression is the answer, then they can possibly start putting more and more pressure on their opposition. Those 7 shots are already solid. It's just that on the other end of the field, boy, oh boy, like 21 shots? Am I reading that right? Yeah, it's 21 shots. Mind Games eSports, really, in a way, that's even a miracle that they've been able to sustain themselves for such a long time and only concede 5.
I mean, with 21 shots, and I always say if you get 10 shots on target in a competitive game of Rocket League, that's a good day at the office. 21 shots on target without winning the game, that's just wasteful, Jam. That's just wasteful. Again, there is more to come from Time Chasers. Do not think otherwise. I wish I could come out here and say, so reverse sweep time. Here come Mind Games with a surprise. But genuinely, even after that heroic performance, I can't see how Mind Games are going to win this. Game number 3. On for the clean sweep are Time Chasers. Miss off the backboard. Goal. Welcome to Mind Games eSports all season.
Rough, absolutely rough. Another small miss. I think Flake got something on it because ball all of a sudden changed the trajectory, but a series of misses. And Time Chaser actually started this game with a set play. Fake on the kickoff, ball straight to Trex, who passes it to his teammate on the flank, then the pass goes to the other flank. Unfortunately, it broke down right there, still allowed Time Chasers to stick in the attack and eventually break Mind Games eSports down. But look at that, on the other end of the field, follow-ups, nope, just sitting pretty deep down. Flake not wanting to take any risks, perhaps seeing how close Time Chasers are to the ball, thinking that too many cooks in that situation will definitely spoil the whole draw.
Mind Games' advantage in game number 2 was that they took the lead. As soon as they went behind, it was a game that they were chasing rather than in control of. Were they in control of it ever? That's a point to be argued. But the point does still stand that in any game of Rocket League, if you're leading, it's you in control. That said, look at this down the other side. Once again, Flake pickpocketing. And I challenged them to chase. Well, chase they did, Jam. It's 1-1.
Brilliant play. Really just Flake once again showing aggression. A moment ago, BreastQuest gave Time Chasers the opportunity to take the ball in orange half. It was there. It was sitting closer to the net than it was to the midfield line where Time Chasers were waiting. And yet BreastQuest still didn't go for it. So Time Chasers just went for it still. They were in the attack. They could take it. Trex still doing Trex things as usual. But the Mind Games eSports, still, the moment they show aggression, the moment they bring their game to Time Chasers, that's finally when they're starting to bloom. Whenever they're sitting passive, that's where the danger comes back into the orange half.
Flake gets past Trex, but Minor Party was in defense. MacGyver goes up high to stop at the midfield. BreastQuest on the retreat. Good thing he did retreat. He makes the save. Trex with the infield pass. Why not Party? Again, dancing through the air. It's all very pretty, but it ultimately leads to nothing. Been fit by now. Beat out MacGyver. Demo in net. And that is great team communication, Jam. That is the affirmative action that we were looking for. BreastQuest just left helpless as Trex was the oncoming train. Been fit by with a simple stroll into the goal.
Unfortunate. But yeah, the hunt was on for the last remaining goalie. MacGyver was somewhere in the way, but instead of going back to the normal rotation through the post, he just went and tried to challenge the ball. I felt like just that took him out of the game completely. And now with BreastQuest and MacGyver on the same flank, issues are starting to rise. We've seen it. Actually, we've seen it before with Mind Games eSports as well. Sometimes they just love to double commit. Two players with the same idea, Timotheus and Flake. Flake likes to play aggressive. Sometimes that forces him to be in the same position as his teammate because he feels, I'm going to go there, this is mine. Right now, something similar is happening between Flake and BreastQuest and MacGyver and BreastQuest. It's just that BreastQuest is not used to rotating with these guys. And there you have it, yet another classic Trex play. Where are the goalies even? I see BreastQuest, I see MacGyver. MacGyver, like, look at that, MacGyver just drove away. MacGyver saw the backboard play happening and he just gave up. He just drove forward, no aerials, no nothing. I think in that situation, he would be safer sitting in the net, anticipating the shot. And I think he just made it absolutely worse for him. Speaking of absolutely worse for Mind Games eSports at the very least, 4 goals now for Time Chasers straight off the kickoff. Up and away.
I'm going to call him out, Jam. I'm going to do it. MacGyver is the only person who I don't think has made a positive contribution to Mind Games in this entire series. BreastQuest has done, okay, BreastQuest has made more mistakes, but at least he's trying at the same time. Like, he's come in with some big saves. We, of course, remember that massive demo that helped them equalize, I think it was, in game number 2, when, you know, Time Chasers were threatening to come back in and overrun them. And MacGyver last season as well was often left wanting, often the man lost in the middle of the forest. And where is he again? He's stuck in net along with Flake, and he comes out with a big save there, finally. But he left it to the last minute. He should have been up a lot quicker.
It is decision-making. It is perhaps partly inexperience, not recognizing how you can just deal with those kind of plays. And obviously ties with a lot of little things that happen on the field in favor of Time Chasers as you make those decisions. Back pass. Trex wants to increase the score for Mind Games eSports. For a second, he forgot that he does not play for that team. Still, at least this keeps the ball away from Mind Games eSports, and it's only a matter of time before Time Chasers eventually will bring the ball back to the Mind Games eSports half.
Well, there you go. I mean, to be fair though, Jam, you say lack of experience in dealing with those plays. MacGyver's had a full season at BESL level, in which case he's had to deal with both Weite and professional ball chasers, and to a lesser extent, backflip boys. You know, there were, again, when we were coming into this season, we were saying, oh, surely it's going to be a Time Chaser run over. Maybe Team Black Diamond can get involved as well on the backflip boys level, but it's arguably closer this season in the midfield than it was last season, because we have less of those star quality teams, if you want to use that word. I mean, I think that's a little bit disrespectful to the likes of Backflip Boys and Black Diamond, who both have shown incredibly good plays so far this season. But that's what we were looking at. That's what we were saying at the start of this season. So if you're Mind Games, if you're MacGyver, you're thinking, hey, there's actually more chances to be positive this season. And that's why I'm disappointed. And ultimately, I'm disappointed with this Mind Games collapse in game number 3 as well. To be so competitive in game 2, and to look competitive still for the first 2 minutes of game 3, that's as good as Mind Games has ever looked, period, with a sub on their team as well. And ultimately, we're eyeing up maybe their biggest defeat of the series so far.
Well, it's something that we expected anyway, and we thought this might be the post-game strong situation one more time, where you just see goals happening left and right. 8 goals in the first game, 12 goals in the second game, 5 goals in the third game against post-game strong. That's how Time Chasers absolutely steamrolled over their opposition. Here, it's perhaps not as bad. And speaking of good games, I'd say that Mind Games eSports definitely looked solid when in their series last week against Team Small Brain. They've lost that series eventually. That was the best of 5 going all the way to the 5th game. And there was some great stuff from Mind Games eSports in that one. 5 goals in the first game, 5 goals in the 4th game. It's just that they gave a lot of space on the field for Team Small Brain, gave them a chance to come back. And as a result, even if they can do some wonderful stuff on the field, it's sometimes just, it's not enough. It's not enough. They let the game slip away from them. And as a result, well, this is the result.
So despite some hair-raising moments, Time Chasers walk out with a 3-0 sweep. They go up onto 4-0 for the season. Their land hopes very much in their hands now. As for Mind Games, they drop to 0-4. Relegation very much, or their relegation fate very much out of theirs now. They pretty much have to win every other game this season to keep themselves in the conversation for survival. So bleak times for Mind Games. It's going to be a curious what if, I think, Jam, to ask what would have happened if Timotheus had been playing instead of BreastQuest. What would Pigeon have brought to the party? We will never know. And I guess that's one of the sad things from this game. We'll never know what could have been had Mind Games been at full strength or with their intended sub. For Time Chasers, at least, that was a potentially very out of place speed bump that has been overcome, and they can sit back, take stock of what has happened, and just say, at least we ground out the win.
It does look that way. They'll be happy. Hey, they still are on an well, at least series-wise, and on being a record. The whole not gonna drop a single game has been thrown out the window during the first week. So more on this Time Chasers versus Mind Games eSports game, as well as our next matchup, where it's gonna be Team Black Diamond facing off against Post Game Strong. Everything and more after the break.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you and us and me. Switch up the batteries.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Welcome back to Week 4 action here on BSL. I'm Jarv James, still with EuroLeague. Nothing has changed on that end, but we already have our very first victor. And that, of course, is Team Time Chasers, Time Chasers. No surprise, 3-0 versus Mind Games eSports. At times we're quite close, but it's the issues that Mind Games eSports have, Post-Game Strong has. It's closing out those games, really holding out to your lead, really somehow stopping that Goliath that is just barreling towards you. That's where all these small teams, those Davids, are having the issues in.
Yeah, Time Chasers, they saw the topsy-turvy menu that we had on offer here in the restaurant that is Rocket League this weekend, and they were like, yeah, I don't like anything on the menu. Can we just walk out the restaurant, please? They did so, but not after ordering a starter, because goodness me, Mind Games eSports so easily could have had a game themselves, Jam, and as soon as you take a game off someone, there's no telling what can happen. So I think that Mind Games can be proud of what they did overall. I think that the fact that they scared Time Chasers was much more than I was expecting at the very least. But ultimately, they fall to 0-4. Relegation fate is out of their hands now. Time Chasers go 4-0. LAN hopes are very much in their hands. And speaking of LAN hopes and relegation hopes, we've got another one of those types of battles again. But I think it's going to be a lot closer. Team Black Diamond currently sitting third in the league. If they win this, they go on to 3-1 overall in the season. Not only that, but at least temporarily, they move up into second. Of course, them and Backflip Boys playing in our match of the week in match number 4. Before then, but after this, Backflip Boys also play. So big week for these teams, and a massive game for Post-Game Strong. Looking as good as they ever have been up against Imperial last week. Even managed to shut out Imperial in game number 3, where they 3-0'd them. So there's something there with Post-Game Strong, Jam, to suggest that they can survive this season. The bad thing is that the good play came in flashes. It wasn't necessarily a turn on the lights and all of a sudden the room is illuminated. It was finding almost like, candlesticks dotted along a dark, like a castle at night. Oh, we're going to stick with the spooky theme. Excellent. And to be fair, I think that maybe Team Black Diamond do need to be spooked to be thrown off here, because that team has looked brilliant. They brought in Primer, of course, ex-Scavenge eSports. And I think Keo and Frosty, I know that I've focused on Primer a lot previously, but Keo and Frosty have really stepped up this season. In fact, Keo, I think in particular, or is it Frosty? Is it Keo or Frosty? I need to get my stats right.
Which one are you looking for? Frosty right now is the top scorer and point leader for that team.
Yes, but Keo is in the top 5 assisters in the league overall. And so he has got pretty esteemed company. The only people above Keo in the assist standings is Why Not Party, Trex, and Minfitby. So the entirety of Time Chasers, arguably the best team in the league. That tells me that Keo is being incredibly unselfish, but not only that, his creativity has taken a step up from last season. And it's giving Primer, especially, I think, more license to go forward and take shots himself, because so often last season, he was a creator.
And really, for Team Black Diamond, right now it's looking incredibly solid. That is the reason I think why, or this is just correlating with the fact that we consider them, if not top 2 team, or at least number 2 team, because we all know what the number 1 team is, then for at least that top 4 team. And right now they're showing exactly what they're made of. Frosty, he's currently top 4 or top 5, if you wish, in goals overall, second to only, well, you guessed it, Trex, Minfipai, and Why Not Party.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested. The save statistics will be skewed just a little bit. But by the way, it's Frosty actually, technically in top 6, top 7. There's a lot of ties with Minfipai, Mexman, and Dipsy. So he's still working off pretty strong with those 18 saves. The top right now is Timotheus with his 26 saves across all 3 games that he has played, if I'm not mistaken. So as a result, he is also doing pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, the problem with saves, the problem that I personally have with saves as a stat though, Jam, is that if you're working perfectly together as a team with perfect rotation, your team doesn't really need to make that many saves. The fact that you're up the top of the saves standings does suggest that your defense is strong at least, or that you're coming back into net at the right time to make a save, but it also suggests that your play overall is quite open, which I think is the case for Team Black Diamond. I think they're a bit more of an open play outfit, certainly than Backflip Boys. If you want to make the direct comparison, I think it is going to be between those two teams battling away for that P2 in league play, which will take them to LAN at HyperTown Tallinn at the end of the season. And I mean, yeah, you look at those 3 players: Primer, creator, scorer; Keo, creator, scorer; Frosty, creator, scorer. It's a high pressing team. It's worked with everyone, even to an extent Time Chasers, and they lost that series. But they did look good in losing that series, if you catch my meaning, chat. So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's working for them. The stats back them up as well. And even though they do have an open style of play, you do have people making the saves, getting back there in time. And so for post-game strong, it's again a similar situation that Mind Games had with Time Chasers. Maybe a little bit easier. I don't think any player on Team Black Diamond has the pure mechanical finesse that like Why Not Party has, for example, or Trex. But what they do have is an excellent team synergy, even this early in the season. So post-game strong, they're going to have to forget their A game, they have to bring their S game, I think, to be able to overcome Black Diamond.
Or double S game or triple S game. Just how far it's going to go with those crazy
RNG
rating
gods,
systems.
please.
Yeah, sometimes these rating systems just go through the roof. Like, can't you just have, starting from F? No, you're going to have triple S's and stuff like that. Man, it's gonna be crazy, but it is that opportunity for Post Game Strong, I think, here to once again bring that flash, yes, and somehow stretch it into 5 minutes of action. And I know that it's incredibly strong for them, and I know that just like in their matchup against Time Chasers, this is going to be a hard ask for them, knowing exactly what Frosty can do, what Keo can do. Right now, comparing Premier and Dipsy, it is, I wouldn't exactly say it's that close. You see those stat lines being pretty far wide. The only way, the place where they're closing is saves and Dipsy's winning that game. But that's through the fact that Mind Games eSports, Post Game Strong, teams like Team Smallbrain and Bad Dudes are forced to spend a lot of their time in defense. And technically, especially knowing how many shots are shown against them. 52 shots last series for Time Chasers, and not like 30 goals, just means that their opposition will all be enduring a lot of shots. They'll be making a lot of saves, but still conceding a lot. So perhaps that save comparison not the best. Still, it's a chance for Post Game Strong to hopefully not just be cool for 1 week, like in the previous season when our minds exploded when I believe they won against Mind Games eSports. Was that they had a very crazy week during which we said, God, it's gonna be mad. But I hope that after last week, especially knowing that they had a lot to learn after that week, to take in and practice to use that playstyle. Now they can try and do the same, but this time proper, not just be surprised about that and be happening. Arlik, actually, we do need you to leave that.
I've already left. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I got the note. I was looking at stats at the wrong time to see everybody leaving the server because we want to make sure that the connection is good for everyone.
Of course.
You all know this, folks. I want to highlight Dipsy, actually. I think that last season, I mean, remember when Arceus picked up Player of the Week last season in week 2?
Yeah, that was
and
the
I
week.
was like,
the week.
That was the week for them. And Arceus popped off, not just in terms of goal threat, in terms of creativity as well. Since then, he's taken a downward trend. I think Dipsy has taken an upward trend to really become this team's creative force. And I do think that he's, at least throughout Season 4 so far, I think he's been a bit limited by his teammates around him, not converting on good chances which he's creating. They're going to have to rely on him a lot to make things happen today. And if he is in the good form that we saw him in last week, then who knows. But I think Arceus and Rukawa, they really have to step up today, and they need to match the output from Dipsy LV. Right, game number 1. Finally in. Enough hashtag Talk It League. We're here. We're playing, and everything is good. Arceus coming out with an early challenge on the defense. Good early pressure from Postgame Strong overall. Keo goes upfield. Arceus looking for the touch into the corner. Awful touch into the corner. Not punished, and Dipsy out and away. Dipsy in the Maverick today. Interesting choice. Well, I tell you what, if he doesn't trust his teammates too much, and if he fancies some punch from midfield jam, then there's not many better cars than that one.
He's just gonna oomph it straight from there, and hey, he can quite potentially do that. I believe it was Dipsy last week who went absolutely...
Oh, it's not the Maverick, sorry.
It is, yeah, it is the Skyline.
It's the Skyline, yeah.
Close enough. Perhaps even similar hitbox, at least based on their car models. I might be a pat wrong about that one. I do believe it was Dipsy who went absolutely crazy last week when he was going for these aerial challenges. Was he not just, I'm going to go for these aerial plays and God help me, I'm going to be threatening the opposition. So here, perhaps trying to go for something like that, and a tad of a longer car might help him with that.
Well, there he is again. Demo in midair, and Primer denied by Rukawa. Keo round the corner. Dipsy's in net to bring this away, but only as far as Primer once again off the top of the box. Arceus with a massive whiff in midfield, but he does at least redeem himself with a demo. The ball trickling towards the net. Dipsy flies in with a challenge. Rukawa misses the ball. It's madness in the blue half. And Team Black Diamond, despite the inventiveness from Arceus, nobody was there to follow up. Then again, they were expecting Arceus to just get the clear jam, and he didn't do it.
I was hoping for Arceus to actually stick in the attack, because that demolition just opened the net immediately. Team Black Diamond were all much farther up the field, but he decided against it, and I feel like one player commit in that situation wouldn't bring anything bad for Postgame Strong in the defense, but could have threatened the Team Black Diamond net immensely. Instead, just a series of misses here or there. But look who's that on the attack. It's Postgame Strong. They're now not shy of getting out of their own half, putting a little bit of a pressure, and with yet another shot. That's Dipsy coming in, flying high. Postgame Strong are not allowing to be bullied, just like they were in their series against Time Chasers, and we had a little bit of taste, a little bit of flashback, I suppose, from them in our very first series of the game, of the day, rather.
I think it's actually to Postgame Strong's advantage that Mind Games played first today, because they now know Postgame Strong, if they do pick up a win here, they at least could go 1-3 in the series, in the season, sorry. And 1-3, in terms of survival, is a recoverable position in Jam. Not only that, but you've got to win, full stop, which is better than what Mind Games can say at the moment. Good pressure coming out. Dipsy has just him and, well, it was just him and Keo, and I was prepared to say Keo comes up and meets the challenge. But Keo just misses, and Dipsy's got an open net to shoot at.
Lovely stuff. Dipsy even had enough boost. The moment he got to the apex of that arc, he conserved. He got him a double tap, and the moment the ball got past him...
Oh dear. Oh, what a save!
Brilliant. Really, this could have been a 1-1 straight after the kickoff. A team like that and back in it. Brilliant save. Quick rotation back in.
He was a slave to time, was Rukawa. He didn't know what he was whether he was going to get there or not, but he did.
Saved. Thank you, Arleek. That was absolutely saved. Anyway, brilliantly played, and man, this is Team Black Diamond's inefficiency in the attack right now. Really, you would exactly say that they've put that much pressure on Postgame Strong. Or at the very least, Postgame Strong looked that much solid in the defense, not breaking a sweat, with the exception of that one from the kickoff. And there you have it, 1-0, 1 minute remaining still. But it's not the same domination. It's not we're going to score as many as we wish. The playstyle that Time Chasers are showing. No, it's, oh my, we might actually drop a game against Postgame Strong. That will be, by the way, second game they would have won in the whole season so far. Their first burn was last week against the Imperial.
Oh, you know, I was talking about that high pressing game from Team Black Diamond. They don't really have a defensively minded player in this roster. And it should be working against Postgame Strong, but Postgame Strong are using that high press absolutely to their advantage. They're putting on a high press of their own, and the Black Diamond defense is just falling apart at the seams. They don't know how to deal with it. Another open there. Arceus looking to try to get the read on the clearance. Frosty was smart enough to go more sideways than forward. Rukawa in defense puts this off to the corner. 10 seconds for Black Diamond to try and find an equalizer. Primer wins in the air. Frosty helps it round the corner, but Rukawa was there up again, nice and quick. What an excellent performance this has been from Postgame Strong. 1 for the road, 2-0. That is as good as Postgame Strong has looked all season, Jam, and arguably as worse as Black Diamond has looked all season.
What on earth has happened? I don't want to jinx anything right now for Postgame Strong, but maybe after the second game where there's going to be a tad closer, but this showing...
Only 2 shots on target!
It's
Black Diamond!
It felt like that throughout the game. Did you see Black Diamond in the attack? Pretty much not. They've thrown a couple of shots at the very start of the game. At least they were in the attack at the very start of the game. Postgame Strong, I said, didn't break a sweat defending from those attempts. And then the game just moved into the midfield, then moved to the blue side, and continuing to be there for a majority of this game. That's how Postgame Strong have these 7 shots, those 2 goals. And really, it's... I heard this wonderful phrase from, I think, one of the Rival Series caster, RLCS caster, donuts. Donuts for Keo. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from it on the field. And Frosty hopefully will come back. Yep, he already came back in just a moment. He's one of our players who is forced to play from pretty far away. I believe it's United Arab Emirates, and he's still...
Yes, he's in the Middle East.
Exactly, but he's doing a fantastic job. He's still the top player for his team point-wise. So as a result, he's still pulling his weight, no question about that. In this game, Team Black Diamond just still were warming up, seemingly just wearing those his little training weights. Just nothing was... It's not like even though nothing was working for them, they were not working themselves, if that makes sense. It's just like you could see no effort from them on that field.
Yeah, it's a fine difference between the two, where you have Time Chasers who didn't go out of first gear, but could easily step it up. This just looked lifeless from Black Diamond, which is much more of a worry. Really is a big worry. And Dipsy coming out with the most shots in that game as well for his team, I think was hugely important, putting a lot of pressure, forcing saves. But unfortunately, that midfield domination has just come to a disastrous end. Dipsy, who was so good in game number 1, whiff of his life, and Keo is offered the net on a plate to shoot out. He's not going to miss a straight shot, and it's an early advantage to Black Diamond, hopefully for them to settle the nerves.
It's good. It's a great start for them to just restart the whole thing, shake it off. Postgame Strong, 3 mistakes in a row. First was, of course, that big miss. Then Arceus was in the net, and really he wasn't ready for that because Rukawa, I do believe that, was trying to throw some sort of a challenge, but he was not ready for that. Tad too awkward. Didn't get a contact. And with Arceus thinking perhaps his teammate is going to get it, wasn't even in the position to make that save. He went to the side. As a result, Postgame Strong, despite their showing in the first game, this still shows that their playstyle is not without a fault, and more often than not, these faults are way too important to be ignored.
Another whiff from Dipsy, gives up possession to Keo, goes over 1, looks to get the double tap off the backboard. It's a waterfall pass, but Arceus recovers on the backboard. That's such a weird thing to say. Arceus recovered on the backboard. His backboard defense so far this season has arguably been his... Actually, no. Let's put it out there. It's absolutely been the weakest part of his play so far this season. And there he was recovering like he was a Time Chasers player. Brilliant work from him. Keeps his team in it. And once again, the ball finds itself on the blue backboard. Kyo away into the orange half once again. Rukawa going to go around the world with this. Primer's looking to pick up the challenge, but again, good work from Rukawa. Oh, and Arceus with a big save there. Primer shooting right at him. Rukawa quick in the air once again. Dipsy needs to get this out, but Rukawa from the ceiling follows up on his own clearance. Brilliant work from him. He's stepping up, and if he converted the goal, Jam, that would have been the full court carry solely through Rukawa. What a shame.
My God, Rukawa did such a great job bringing the ball on the other end of the field. Prima set up Rukawa then with a shot since no boost on Rukawa, but Prima just shoots it straight off the wall. Well, great bump, but that play just stopped. Rukawa and Frosty just slowed down to 0 kilometers per hour, looked at each other, and the 50-50 happened, and the ball went to the side. But Lux is back in the attack. They're already lined up. I see Arceus. I see Rukawa just waiting for it. Rukawa didn't go for it. Actually, yeah, he's already in the corner. That bounce just didn't favor him that much. Post-game strong. I like their approach to the attack right now. When they really can get that positioning going, they have a conveyor belt going, all ready to strike and Team Black Diamond.
There's Arceus again getting onto the backboard to prepare to make the clearance. His team deal with it anyway. Frosty tries to fake out, does so. He gets the challenge, but the clearance still comes through. Arceus over the top of Primer. Kyo scrambles back. Arceus gets the shot on target from the impossible angle. Counter-attack. Primer. Dipsy. Oh, what a bump! What a bump from Primer. Goodness me, what you can do, I can do better. Not only can I bump you, but I can score the goal to boot. 2-0 Black Diamond.
Amongst all other things I didn't expect, I will be seeing Primer doing it squishy. That is as squishy as it gets, and it works. Unless you're really practicing for those, it's almost impossible to do something in that situation, and especially when you don't expect it, you're just thrown to the sidelines with that one. Rough for post-game strong, but they're not out of it. They still have a moment, still have time, as long as they can still, I think, portray that aggressive playstyle that was helping Mind Games eSports. It should be helping post-game strong as well, but the game still comes in flashes to them. Flashes of brilliance, and then flashes of absolute horror.
Yeah, I do think that it's definitely changed, though, Jam. I think it's much more consistent brilliance now as the flashes of early season post-game strong, which we're starting to see now, which are their undoing. Rukawa soft touch onto the backboard, not really going to make much of it. Despite, I think this has just been one of those games, Jam, where post-game strong have not had the rub of the green. They've done a lot of good things, but then there's challenges like this where Frosty wins the challenge. You know, Arceus has gone in flying. He's done the right thing in going in for the challenge and waiting for it, letting Frosty have, you know, the blue side of the field at his disposal. But the ricochet has just been perfect for Team Black Diamond. That's a 3-0 lead, and big order now for post-game strong to get back into game number 2 at least.
It might be looking a tad unlikely. Great pass though. Look at that.
Pass.
They've opened that defense, but Rukawa just slows down. I don't think Arceus going in from the back was the plan. They almost got through to Black Diamond. Is just that all that slowing down gave Black Diamond the opportunity to just get back into the defense, and all that shock factor was nothing.
Again, another 50-50 challenge win for Black Diamond. Primer keeps it locked in the orange half. Oh, another missing defense. Primer along to Frosty, but Dipsy recovers to amend for his earlier error. Not that the breakout was too quick or too long in length. It's going to be a shutout for post-game strong in game number 2. But they shouldn't be too disheartened from that, Jam. I think they got unlucky. I think that there were some individual errors which were cruelly punished. Black Diamond do look convincing in the scoreline, not so much in the overall play. Post-game strong, definitely unlucky in a couple of cases.
Partly unlucky, partly still being their own worst enemy. A lot of unforced errors, a lot of misses that could have been circumvented if it wasn't for post-game strong players themselves, and a couple of chances they might have gotten the attack also gone begging. So right now from post-game strong, they have a lot of potential, and at times I would agree with you actually, Eric, that they've sort of leveled it out. It's no longer either complete brilliance or complete horror. It's somewhere in the middle. It still wiggles a little bit back and forth, but it's no longer as drastic as sometimes.
Yeah.
It still does feel like they know their powers. They still are not 100% sure how to use them, and it seems like it's only when they get perhaps the best possible situation, when they there's something that they've planned before, like those again backboard plays where they can just line up and start pressuring the net of Team Black Diamond. That's something that I feel like they feel comfortable with. They get a starting point. Okay, we're here. The opponents are here. Let's start this. We know how to do this. Let's try and execute on that, and whatever happens really afterwards happens. But it doesn't always happen for them. And in more improvisational situations, it's still like flip of a coin, whether they be good in that, good in that, and that. Let's see what game 3 can bring in this one, our league, because post-game strong would really like to, at the very least, score a goal and keep their net a tad more safer than in the previous game.
Rukawa with the back pass off the backboard. He deals it nicely. Dipsy over the top of one. This is a great opportunity for Rukawa. Oh, he missed it off the crossbar. Here comes Arceus, though. And Arceus follows up. Brilliant start to game number 1 for post-game strong. That is exactly what they needed.
Great stuff. With follow-up is exactly what helped them. Often we see post-game strong, and again, lower ranked teams in our league just sitting back down. No, here they all knew. We're going on the attack, down the everything. We're gonna get it, because this is what you need to do. And when on that quick rotation, you strike your opponent before they have time to recover. And that first attempt was brilliant, and the follow-up was a tad late. Still working out pretty well in their favor. This shot to the side also helping out post-game strong immensely. Blocking, at least for a moment, blocking the attack of Team Black Diamond, not allowing them to perform their set play.
And I tell you what, if your backflip boys waiting in the wings to have your 2 games this week, one against Team Smallbrain, another miss there in defense actually from Dipsy, so he might be good in offense, but his defense has been lacking a lot of whiffs, and that gives it up to Prime, shot on target. Yeah, if you're backflip boys, where you've got Team Smallbrain and then Black Diamond to face, you've got to be feeling pretty good about your chances this week, certainly. Bottom of the table post-game strong. Well, not bottom anymore, of course, they're now 7th, but still in those relegation places, putting Team Black Diamond through their paces. Keo, looking to get the soft touch, doesn't get it. In defense is Frosty, going to bring it out from the back. Primer, there was 2 players up for post-game strong. Dipsy gets the 100 boost in the nick of time. And Arceus should get the challenge in. No, he gets the fake in, actually, though. And Frosty's met in the midfield once again.
Fakes, calculated plays, still it draws out the resources of post-game strong, and they're already pretty thin. While the aggressive playstyle is nice, and aggressive playstyle quite often means that there's somebody following you, at very least in their setup and their strategy, it is still hurting post-game strong just a little bit when misses like that happen. It means that they have to sometimes reroute themselves and potentially put themselves in a position where aggression is unwarranted. They're going overextending way too much. And Team Black Diamond then just can turn around in the nick of time and do something against them. Not in this case. Something that perhaps they should be aware of for coming into in the next couple of minutes of play.
Kawa over to the sidewall, looking to follow up, but doesn't get there. But look at that, Dipsy covering his teammate. Good work, good work. Keo round the corner, but Arceus again on the backboard away. Onto the backboard once again. Dipsy should get the challenge. Yes, Keo keeps up the pressure. Oh, and feels bad, man. Primer backing up into Keo. He didn't realize he was there. That's why you're always looking your rear view mirror, folks. Down into the blue half of the field now. Primer having recovered. He's got no boost, actually. Shot in from Rukawa. Shot in from Dipsy. Both going high. Both going wide. The follow-up again from Rukawa. Back into the middle. Frosty. Loose touch, gets it over Arceus, but Dipsy's here. Good challenge from Frosty. Arceus tries to find Dipsy again, but the challenge in from Keo. He's going to chase this one now off the backboard. Doesn't get the fake on Arceus, though. Read him like a book. Dipsy, nice clearance out into the midfield.
Some smart ideas from post-game strong. For their prolonged attacks, they're trying to find a variety of things, and it's a good thing that they're trying to look for each other. Keo!
Oh!
Well, he was missing, and in the first game, he definitely coming in this one with a bang. 3 minutes late, I suppose. Almost 4.5, but he gets himself a lot of space. Nobody challenging him in the midfield, so he just puts it on the roof, goes with it, And that backward strikes yet again. Postgame Strong sitting on these laurels for a long time, but now back in tie game. And it's all over again for them.
Here's double trouble, Arceus. Oh, wow, Arceus putting off a massive save there. He kind of pulled out the challenge. He knew he wasn't going to get there, and Dipsy by that point was already on his way to pick up the 100 boost. And so the goal mouth was wide open for Kyo to get that double touch. Still 1-1. Not all lost for Postgame Strong. Frosty, downfield. Dipsy, the last man back. He had to come over from the other side of the field to get there. He also wins the race to the 100 boost there in that left corner. Rukawa, speaking of, has got no boost. He's not able to get it past Frosty due to that lack of pace on the ball. Dipsy sees Rukawa, who now does have boost. Helps it on. Oh, it's a nice waterfall pass. And now it's just a case of waiting out the defense. Primer goes up, and Arceus doesn't get the challenge in midfield. Primer now chasing. But great work from Dipsy to throw it back into the blue corner. Is there any follow-up? Rukawa inward. And big touch there from Frosty. And what a big win there from Frosty as well. Again, reads Arceus and where he wanted to place the ball. And although Rukawa gets this out briefly, it's once again Black Diamond pressure.
Yeah, that pressure from Black Diamond, especially when Frosty's going for these 50-50 challenges, is immense. He has been winning the majority of these duels that he has been going for. And more often than not, they're incredibly crucial with bringing the ball back to the orange half of the field. Not exactly perhaps scoring the goals with those, but he is just immediately putting Postgame Strong in the back burner and forcing them to rush back just because of how good his challenges was, because he is there in time and making sure that whatever Postgame Strong are planning, it's not going to be kickoff, a little bit of reset, and Frosty with the ball. This might get dangerous.
Yeah, not too often that we have overtime here in BSL. And often when we do get overtime, it doesn't last too long. Once again, destroyed mentally and physically on the kickoff. Postgame Strong fall apart, and it's match point for Team Black Diamond.
Not enough time to return back, and again, not recognizing where the ball is going to go from that situation. There is going to be a pass, no question about it. And the Postgame Strong were not ready to approach, either close down that pass or just block the shot. They were not exactly sure where the ball was going to go. When the challenge came, by that point it was already too late, and that player for Postgame Strong was at that in no man's land, just not able to influence that play at all. Not the worst game from Postgame Strong, not the best game from Black Diamond, but in this game, when it's still as close as is, Postgame Strong still lacking that one extra powerful element, that one kick in the nether regions, I suppose, to really get the whole thing going.
It's not often, Jam, that the MVP of the game is on the losing team in Rocket League. In terms of points score, at least. And I realize I say time and time again, point score doesn't really matter. It doesn't reward midfield presence. It doesn't reward a lot of unseen work from the horseman style or the workhorse style, mentality in midfield and in defense. But Arcee is picking up the most points in the entire game. I think that accurately reflects his impact on the series overall, because he was big in defense. He scored the goal when his other two teammates had failed to convert themselves. But you're right, after that goal, there was little threat. There were some good opportunities, but they didn't work the defenders of Team Black Diamond like they did in game number 1. And they need to find that now, Jam, because they are one game away from dropping to 0-4. And as I said earlier with Mind Game, that very much puts their relegation fate out of their hands.
Familiar territory for Postgame Strong and Mind Games eSports at the bottom of the standings. As unfortunate as it might sound, it still seems that it's just not 100% enough for them. All that learning experience that we have mentioned still not coming in 100% for Postgame Strong. And as long, really, they have good beginnings. They have some good basics that they can utilize. It's just that the consistency is the key, and Postgame Strong are lacking that one. Sometimes they're looking like, all right, this is solid. They can make decisions on the field that outwit their opposition, but all that is for nothing if the ball gets dropped in an awkward position, where challenges are missing, where an easy clear that you're supposed to make, it just does not happen. You give the ball away to your opposition. It's that situation when they're getting outplayed by themselves. And it's never a good side. It just means that there's still a lot more improvement for that team to make in more of technical and individual aspects rather than teamwork. And which Postgame Strong at times does show they know how to play that, but all that other stuff gets in the way, and they can't get to the teamwork part.
Yeah, I was just looking at their record again, in terms of who they faced already. If they had played like this up against Imperial, consistently, that is. If they play consistently good with the odd error here and there, up against Imperial and bad dudes, I mean, their season could be completely different. We could be thinking 1 win, 2 wins maybe. It's all just come a little too late for them, and now they are on the ropes here. They are they are on their last legs, so to speak. And Team Black Diamond, they have that all-important 3rd win of the season just out of their grasp. Good start again from Postgame Strong. The kickoff win, but the defense is left wide open. Keo, goal.
It starts as it started so many times. Just this time, a tad too aggressive for Postgame Strong. They thought they had a possibility, but couldn't get there in time. Actually, I supposing out of boosts. He didn't even touch that corner boost. He was still visible on the replay. It seems like he just really rushed into that play, and, well, without the boosts, really couldn't reach the ball. Once again, put themselves in a big disadvantage. Postgame Strong started the 4th game with a handicap, and it's not a handicap in their favor. That kickoff was great, but another miss by RTS meant that just didn't go their way. Everyone else then tried to commit, and in that situation, just too hard for Postgame Strong.
RTS trying to read Frosty. The bump coming through. Primer wins again through Carwood. Dipsy last in defense. That's not often, at least from what we've seen so far this season, the best option to have. And again, Arceus flying in hot. I don't know why he's changed cars. He's gone back to the breakout, and I don't see any particular reason why when he was the best player on the team last game in an Octane.
Perhaps
I've run out of words.
It's quite a possibility. It still felt a tad off for him. He thought maybe with this one he will be trying to influence or something. He saw the part that he was being able to do, working perhaps better with a different style of hitbox cars. So maybe try for that. But so far these opening minutes of 4th game show that he might be a little bit mistaken about what exactly he needs and not ready to break out the breakout, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I appreciate sometimes some cars don't feel as good as others, but sometimes you're just better with cars. Look, I found this out myself literally a few nights ago. I mean, I've loved using the Mad Cat. I've loved using cars like the Artemis, for example. I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment when it comes to these bizarre choices. The Vulcan as well is something that I've used. And yet I break out stuff like the Imperator and the Maverick, and all of a sudden I'm hitting a lot more shots on target. I'm scoring a lot more shots because there's a lot more pace. Sometimes you just need to play to the style of player that you are and not the style of player that you want to be. And I don't think that Arceus is a breakout player. He was in the Octane last season, and that's why he was their top scorer last season, Jam. He was getting more power on the hits rather than a bit more flexibility in the air, which you get from the breakouts. At least that's what I learned from my experience of using both cars myself.
Right now, on
second half of the match to go, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm rambling. It's just sad.
I agree with that assumption. And really, just you need to find something that works for you, and sometimes it might be you need a car change, or sometimes perhaps you don't need a car change. Postgame Strong so far in this game have been struggling to really find their rhythm. It feels like, while Black Diamond doesn't punch them all the way through, it's still only 2-goal game. It feels like Postgame Strong just no longer is clicking with each other. Double commits, passes not really going anywhere. That aggression is gone, And as a result, just they crossed the midfield line, they let the ball go, and then pretty much nothing happened. They might be out of position, out of boost. And as a result, a team like Diamond just throws the ball back on the orange half of the field and say, you try that again, but watch that clock, it's still ticking, and you're down.
If Team Black Diamond are the proverbial gardeners, then they've gotten the weed spray out. And they've sprayed it all over Team Post-Game Strong, and yeah, they look nothing like the annoyance, nothing like the threat that they were in Game 1. Frosty actually helping out the Post-Game Strong defense there by passing it out to Rukawa. But what a pointless flick-up that was, ultimately. I realise that that's more down to his team not being in the right place to capitalise, but it makes Rukawa look silly, it makes them look disjointed, and a third goal makes them look like a team that is on their way to be relegated from the BESL next season.
It is looking rough, but what else can I say about Post-Game Strong? They have been really brought down to the ground, and all the brilliance from the first game is no longer to be found on the field. Just looking lost, just not believing in themselves anymore, and obviously constantly losing throws you off for the biggest loop possible. You're no longer trusting yourself, no longer trusting your teammates, and it's just 3 players falling apart. And right now, Team Black Diamond are just doing a lot of brilliant stuff in the air. Something where Post-Game Strong is still struggling. Rukawa, I don't think he was even considering the chance that the Frosty might touch it, so he didn't even consider going for it in the air. As a result, ball just sails past him. He watches his team go down by 4 goals.
You know, earlier with the NA broadcast for our CS Jam, there was a very interesting comment where there were suggestions, hints that Cloud9, who, if you haven't checked so far, Cloud9 having a bit of a rough season this year, right? Maybe they should have roster changes. I thought it was a bit early to call that, especially seeing how the rest of this week played out for them. For Post-Game Strong, I do think roster changes are needed. The one of only 2 teams to maintain the same lineup from Season 3. In some areas, especially in the case of Dipsy, offensively, I think they've gone forward. The team overall, I think they've genuinely gone backwards. And by this point last season, they'd had themselves a win. By this point this season, Dipsy has stopped moving as the buzzer beater isn't achieved. They move down to 0-4 for the season. Black Diamonds, they actually move up into second with their 3rd win of the season. That is the win they needed to secure. Post-Game Strong, as we've said so many times this season, sadly, Jam, they just fell apart at the seams.
Total turnaround in this series. Compared to game number 1, where Black Diamond managed to only get 2 shots, they were looking like the pale shadow of themselves. And game number 4, where it's Post-Game Strong, already a little bit transparent in the wind, they've been shut down in this 4th game. Look at that 1 shot. Everything that they've been doing was just falling out of their hands, and not being able to compose some of the simplest moves on the field meant that Team Black Diamond walked over them. 4 goals. Could have been even worse, but Team Black Diamond maybe feeling a little bit under the weather. They have their own problems as well, not really going full steam ahead. If that's their first gear, then it's enough to beat Post-Game Strong, but it might not be enough to bring kill. Well, perhaps sometimes even kill their opposition in any of the other games. For Post-Game Strong, it is looking unlikely that we're going to see them next season staying in the league. Right now, best of luck to them, but seemingly by this point, their season has been pretty much relegated down to, let's see what else can we do about this. Let's see what possibilities are still there for us. Hopefully, we can still salvage something out of the season, perhaps some learning experience at the very least. But knowing that they already had 1 season in this high league, knowing that they had the season break, a couple of weeks to adjust to this season as well, it doesn't seem like any of the lessons that they might have learned are coming in handy.
Who have Post-Game Strong got left to face? They've still got to face the Backflip Boys. But, to be fair to them, Jam, they've also got Team Smallbrain and Mind Games still to play. Two fellow strugglers so far this season. Fate's already been taken out of their hands, but you never know. You never know. We do wish the best of luck to all of them. And, you know, I can suggest roster changes, you know, all I like. Ultimately, this is a team. They're good friends with each other. And we hope that they can pull together and hopefully pick up at least one win this season. I think that's the hope that we have for all teams. But onwards we go anyway to our third match. After the break, Team Small Brain, aforementioned, another set of strugglers. They're up against a team that have just watched their closest rivals for LAN win. So it's time to see how they respond. Team Small Brain versus the Backflip Boys. It's coming up after these messages.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you and me. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Welcome back, folks. We just saw something, I suppose. Team Black Diamond struggling at times, sort of been stuck in dirt, but in the end does persevere versus the post-game strong squad 3-1. That match has ended, and well, let's talk a little bit more about that, our league. It was not the cleanest game for both sides, that for sure. And like Time Chasers, who walked over Mind Games eSports, despite one of those games also being pretty close, that series had a possibility to also just get out of reach for Team Black Diamond, because both Game Strong still are showing sometimes they can do good things. It's just that the amount of bad things to counterweight that usually drags the whole thing down.
Yeah, and that's why it's more worrying for Team Black Diamond than it is for post-game. Well, the fact that post-game strong are now 0-4 is plenty worrying enough. But if you're Team Black Diamond, there will be questions in the back of your head after that performance as to whether LAN will be achievable this season. Remember, after this series coming up, so we've got Team Small Brain versus Backflip Boys. This is only Backflip Boys' third game of the season, and so win it, they go back up into second ahead of Team Black Diamond. Lose it, and they then have to win against Team Black Diamond to move back into second place. But those two teams, we think, is the battle for that second position, that second spot at LAN. So for Team Black Diamond to win the series against Post Game Strong more through the mistakes of Post Game Strong than their own ability is certainly a cause for concern. Thankfully, they do have a series off now to fix their errors, their flaws, whatever they can look back on and change. They have time to do that. Backflip Boys won't be afforded the same opportunity, though, so they've got to make sure that they're coming into this series against Team Small Brain with all engines a go, all guns are blazing, and hopefully full confidence to go into that final match of the day.
And they need as much confidence, I think, as they possibly can get. I was very at their performance after the first week when they were playing against the bad dudes, and that wasn't the same Backflip Boys I've seen in the previous season. They've stepped up just a tad, but every single game it might be a little bit nerve-wracking for them if they're not bringing their coming out on the field in full force. And just like Team Black Diamond, they had a possibility of making it a little bit of misstep, aided a lot by post-game strong, again, themselves sometimes shooting themselves in the foot rather than Team Black Diamond necessarily creating something. A turnaround can still happen, knowing this is the week for upsets. This could be it on our hands, but it's only these, well, however many games will tell, at very least 3, at the very most 5. Best of 5 between the Backflip Boys and Team Small Brain. Do you think, our league, that there is a chance of, on the scale from 1 to 10, what are your thoughts about this specific series being an upset for our supposed favorites in this matchup, which is the Backflip Boys?
Is there a chance for an upset? Absolutely. 100%. We've seen some, in a similar vein to post-game strong, but a lot more explosively, we have seen some incredible team play from Team Small Brain. We've also seen some of the worst Rocket League that the BESL has ever seen from Team Small Brain. They finally evened out last week. And so it was, again, it kind of sums up this team in general. Game 5 against Mind Games. Only the third Game 5 that we've seen in BSL Season 4. 5-2 Mind Games. 5-2 Small Brain. 3-0 Small Brain. 5-0 Mind Games. And then a 2-0 for Small Brain to win the series. This, keep in mind, against the team that just today went to 0-4 in the standings. Small Brain can play some wonderful Rocket League when they want to, when they're up for it. But I do fear for them against Backflip Boys. It's interesting that you bring up the Bad Dudes series. Actually, of course, week 1, there's always a bit of week 1 jitters with everyone, I think. They dealt with Bad Dudes. It was a bit of a scrape. Very similar to the Black Diamond series that we just watched, actually, where they just about got past post-game strong. It ended up in a 3-0 sweep, though, Jam. And so even though they didn't look at their best, They certainly weren't at their worst. They managed to get the sweep. Not only that, but the week after, they then absolutely drove over Mind Games, although Mind Games were able to pick a game here against Backflip Boys as well. So I don't think it's as drastically worrying for Backflip Boys as perhaps you might see it. We might have to agree to disagree on that one. They do have to be aware of the small brain threat. At the same time, they know exactly what small brain is capable of on the negative side as well. So I think they'll have confidence going into this one. And I think I'm going to go for the same scoreline as I would have expected in the Black Diamond series. 3-0, possibility of a 3-1. For Backflip Boys, that is.
Yeah, the 3-1 is a pretty solid scoreline. If Backflip Boys do not respect the threat that is coming from Peta on the side of Team Small Brain, that scoreline might be even crazier than this. That player, specifically that player, meaning Peta, he is doing wonderful things for Team Small Brain. He is currently, out of the old teams that are sitting a little bit lower, he is just like Flake on the side of Mind Games eSports. He is carrying his team forward. He is sitting up there with a ton of posts. He is second to Peta he's second to Flake in that lead. They have same amount of shots. They have roughly the same amount of goals. Flake is leading just a little bit in assists. This only proves then that the Peta, more often than not, is then on that offensive. He's being fed those assists rather, or creating sometimes the chances by himself. His individual efforts are not to be discarded. He can sometimes just carry the ball from his own half to the other end of the field and shock the opposition. But this also means that the Maxman and Rico really need to step up if they want to win against, I would say, a star-studded roster for the Backflip Boys. They, after all, are veterans. They have the LAN experience, and they would like to come back to LAN again, especially this year, knowing that there are only 2 spots that will be going to Tallinn.
I didn't realize that Flake had more assists, but actually it kind of makes sense. I would say Peta is actually the much more creative player in general than Flake. I see Flake much more as an out-and-out striker than anything, with Peta being a bit more in the squishy muffins role, actually, of having both creativity and a good shot on him. I guess the difference being that Rico hasn't really featured much in the scoring, and Mexman has been the case study of his team. Again, there was that one series where I openly laughed at him because of what he was doing, and then there was series last week against Mind Games where he was at times the best player on the pitch. A fascinating contest, potentially. Then we hope it will be, between Backflip Boys in the orange and Team Small Brain in the blue. Sarius with the pinch into midfield, and Garsho with an open net. It's 1-0 to Backflip Boys, and that was all a little bit too easily, but do not discount this pinch from Sarius. Really inventive, and though there should have been someone in defense to deal with it for the Team Small Brain, it was actually a good play in general.
It was a brilliant touch, and the Backflip Boys just carved themselves a lot of space in the midfield after Team Small Brain committed on the flank. Rico, strong shot. Even better rotation from Cardu. Small Brain not too patient when it comes to outweighting. They're starting something slowly. Nope. Straight off the kickoff. That's as dangerous shot as you can possibly get. And the Backflip Boys are immediately introduced to the raw energy, raw aggression that Team Small Brain can bring.
Cartu, who has actually switched to the Fennec this game. Interesting to see. Mex goes up high, misses his shot. Rico to come in with a follow-up, looking to get the double tap. Rico, I've been asking for him to get more offense. He did so. Here comes Peta now. A nice offensive rotation there from Team Small Brain. Good opportunity. Backflip Boys held strong. Sarius taking out Rico in the defense now. Allows Cartu to get the free clearance. And it's in reverse for a lot of Team Small Brain as Cartu comes in with a challenge. No follow-up shot.
Getting pretty dangerous. You see Backflip Boys just trying to stop Team Small Brain in the midfield, not allowing any of their clears to come in through, and as thus, Team Small Brain just cannot bring more players up front. Ball just stays there in the midfield line, goes back to their own half, where their clears so far are working somewhat solid, and their rotations we're good almost up to this point. There was a solo effort brewing. Team Small Brain, at the very least, are not allowing Backflip Boys to just pile on them and get a shot, get a goal, and get everything they can possibly do.
I love it. I love the midfield combinations going on in the air as well. Sadly, the pinch block coming off of backflip boys. Soft shot towards net for Sarius. Kartu comes flying in, save. Here comes the counter-attack. Rico towards the net. It actually goes super wide. Payton now with a follow-up shot. It's actually turned into an infield pass. Works out for Mex. Sarius, the bump coming through from Mex, but he gets the clearance. Rico downfield. Garsho in response. Kartu, backflip. Garsho fakes out. And what a good fake out it was. Kartu, after the earlier backflip was rather feels bad, it actually put him in the perfect position. Hold on, back up. Back up a second.
All right.
Pater's in the Ripper.
Yep.
Okay.
Why not?
I don't think I've ever seen the Ripper used competitively before.
Well,
not that it's working for them, but that's. I'm just shocked. Why? Again, I'm gonna copy paste the Arceus argument. You were great in an Octane. Why change?
He's feeling like that this week, it seems. Again, not perhaps helping, and right now Backflip boys are just ignoring the whole car business and just doing what they do best. And that is bring the ball to the blue side and put as much threat on Team Small Brain as possibly they can. Bringing out passes, bringing out aerial plays, just the Backflip boys in their usual habitat. But it might still come in handy later on. Peta, was it actually Peta one of the previous weeks? We had someone playing in such a weird car. I think it was Peta still. And we were lamenting that he has changed and that, man, he was doing so well in something weird.
I think it was Mex in the Scarab, maybe.
Could
it was
be.
Definitely someone in the Scarab, 100%.
One way or the other, Team Small Brain sometimes bringing big brain planes with that one. Who knows? Peta might have something in mind with this one, but perhaps not in this game. Just not exactly working. And look at that, Rico's getting bullied, and Sarius has all the time in the world to dribble that ball straight on net. Look at that, two players on him.
Touch.
Yep, and Rico goes, well, he just sits there on the sidelines. He wants to go there, but Backflip boys say, nope, stop. We have a goal upcoming, you won't spoil.
And so a very comfortable 3-0 scoreline for the Backflip boys in game number 1. And I think if you did still have any worries, Jam, I imagine that they're probably gone by this point. They are looking very neat, very tidy, and not too threatened at all by the Team Small Brain offense.
It's true, yeah. While I was expecting them to perhaps fall apart a little bit, Bad Dude series left a strange taste in my mouth. Like as if they just didn't come ready for that first week. Here it seems that they are doing well, what they do best. They're solid. They are not maybe surprising anyone with something absolutely crazy. Although from time to time, obviously, we see something. Oh, this is looking lovely. No, just lovely. Carefully sitting, waiting for Team Small Brain really to make mistakes. And then when the mistake comes, they're right there. Mex, like nobody goes for that ball. Look at how indecisive Team Small Brain defense is. Nobody's considering that this is their responsibility to go for that ball, which allows the Backflip boys to just come in and take it. It's in some ways it is egregious what Team Small Brain is currently doing in defense.
Of course, there is also less pressure on Team Small Brain. Lose this and they go 1-3. After watching their two closest rivals, I say in inverted commas, for relegation, you don't really want to be a rival for relegation, to be honest. You want to clear everyone else as quickly as possible. But they just watched their two closest competitors for relegation drop down to 0-4. And so they're not going any lower than 6th in the standings, even if they get swept here today. Certainly on the basis of that game, that looks how this series is going to be turning out. It's 4-0 to the Backflip boys, and they move up 1-0 in the series.
It has been a solid effort for Backflip boys. Really no questionable moments for them. And all the questions of Team Small Brain. Can they really get out of this rut? Peta, on the field, Ripper seemingly sapping all of his energy. All these creative plays it has been creating previously, just not showing. They're not there. No. And the rest of the team really can't supply Peta with any other attempts either. They're getting the touches on the ball. That's the best I can say about Team Small Brain right now. Nothing else.
They touched the ball. That was it.
It's better than nothing, but nothing then comes after that for them. Even just looking at it, like 3 saves. Well, all right, you all tried a little bit. It's just got to be that much more effort from you if you really want to beat Backflip Boys. And right now, just like with Time Chasers previously, maybe not so much with the Team Black Diamond, because Team Black Diamond looked a little bit weak, I would even say. But I don't feel like the Backflip Boys right now are necessarily have unfolded all of their big guns. No, just playing with the minimum amount of ammunition, and it's working for them perfectly. We saw that during the game. They've been just getting in these positions and seeing what they can create from that, and knowing just how well they can utilize the basic of the plays against Team Small Brain. They just getting these chances through the fact that Team Small Brain were giving Backflip Boys so many opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no star player, or there was no like star redeeming quality for Team Small Brain. At the same time, there was no star play for Backflip Boys, mostly because their rotational play was just excellent, really. There was no real need to worry about getting flashy, although that is a massive overcommitment as Car2 misses his shot. Garsho gets back in time, and now Sarius should get the challenge in. Triple commit in midfield. 3 players on 1, and it ends up in orange possession, although that's here I was complimenting their rotational play. A hit on a teammate. I think that was Sarah, or was it Car2 on Sarius? I couldn't really tell. No, it was Garsho, sorry, my apologies, on Car2. They get away with it either way. Team Small Brain can't punish the mistake. Sarius with the flick into the middle, double commit in defense, Pater with a save. And once again, despite the mistakes, it's rather lackadaisical Backflip Boys pressure.
They're trying to get in there, especially when the Team Small Brain are struggling with just making a simple clear out of their own half. Just not figuring out who's going to go for that. We just saw 3 players of Team Small Brain in a rough position to make that clear, but since all of them were there, nobody was sure who was going to go for it. It brings it back again to the fact that they sometimes just are not sure who's that player responsible for making that clear. Who's that first player is going in? Who's that second player going in? Peda finally getting something on the field. That waterfall shot played straight into his hands. He found himself just an open opportunity after setup for Mex was perfect. And Backflip Boys, forgetting just for a second that defense still needs to be there. So sometimes it's just be snap of the fingers and bam, a moment in front of your net. But for now, Team Small Brain have to somehow hold on, because Backflip Boys will be back in it, perhaps even straight off the kickoff. And that is an individual play that you need to be ready for. And yet Rico was there, and here... Well, actually, he did go for it. It's just that he read that play just a smidge too late.
He can't thank either of his teammates, though. I want to give full credit to Mex for getting the challenge in the mid-air. I want to give full credit for Pater to being at the far post. Excellent goal to score. Brilliant counter-attack. They then completely just chucked themselves at the ball without second thought and left Rico horribly exposed. Back to a tie game. Sarius, big booming clearance downfield. Pater through the corner, jumps for no apparent reason, and there's goal number 2. What on earth was that?
It starts all here. Pater just gets that bounce. Something.
What was that?
I don't think anything he could have done in that situation. Maybe that was a jump and then a flip. No, he just played the ball in the corner. His teammates were not supporting him to get that bounce and send it straight forward. He just gives the ball straight to the Backflip Boys, and still, since the remaining players of Team Small Brain are still sitting somewhere in the net, it's just an uncontested shot, and you would expect it from the Backflip Boys. It's straight at target.
Clearance away from Backflip Boys, now with the advantage, gifted to them, really. And Pater, who was the hero for Team Small Brain up until this point, very quickly turning into the villain. Rico, with a soft backwards touch. Sarius taking out Pater, so it's only Mex in defense. He actually does well with what he's given. Pater finds Mex again, backward pass to Rico. Mex, of all players, really stepping up today, actually. Great situational awareness. Also caught way too far forward. Little boost to work with, and Rico now bails him out with a big save from the oncoming Backflip Boys player. The pressure starting to come out from Backflip Boys. It's still not particularly special, Jam. But Team Small Brain are basically plunging the knife into their own heart at this point.
I think they're just swinging wildly with their knife. Sometimes they're hitting themselves, sometimes they're hitting the opposition. But sometimes just it looks cool sometimes, but more often than not, it's just, man, someone better take away that knife because somebody's gonna get hurt, and Team Small Brain, well, are in big danger of hurting themselves. Rico out of boost. This could have been lovely, but with Defender in net and him completely running out of resources, it's a tad rough. The pressure is coming in through Team Small Brain at the very least. Now that the play has slowed down a tad, and Backflip Boys are now giving that many more opportunities to Team Small Brain, chances like that are coming in through chances for bringing the ball in, chucking it at the net, and see what comes out of that. Not the most efficient of the strategies, but it's much better than what Team Small Brain have been doing previously. At the very least, it keeps them away from their own half where the majority of the problems are happening.
Nice communication there from Small Brain. Rico was called off to allow Mex to take the shot, and, well, Pater almost got there. Pater did get there, but then Pater wasn't able to get there. And once again, it's defensive failings and consistent pressure from Backflip Boys that's simply coming off better and seeing more chances converted. It's the shots in the box that are working for Backflip Boys, and it's 3-1 overall.
It's a good rush from a Backflip Boys, especially in the situation when they immediately beat one player, and then Small Brain are left with one defender, and in the threatening situation, save goes wrong, bam, you have a net open because nobody is there. And all these attacks, some interesting blocks, and them staying in the attack prolongs that offense just for a little bit. And it's still not looking confident. I feel like the longer the series is going to go, the more we're going to see those frantic touches, those... Just, I'm going to do something with this ball. We need to get this away from our opposition.
Pass.
And all the while the time, the Backflip Boys are just doing what they do best, and that is teamwork. They have the player up there. They know that they're going there. They have an aim. We're going to bring that ball straight to our teammate, and Team Small Brain, unable to read that situation, they're not going to even contest that for one.
Well, it's classic Sarius, isn't it? A perfectly picked pass that Garsho put away. I did notice that Flappy Bird is actually coming back onto... coming back to app stores later on, apparently, in the month. I'm sure many of you will remember that. I get the feeling that Pater's practicing for it a little bit too much. The amount of misses and whiffs that he's come out with in defense is really just not only disrupting the defense, but it's disrupting the rotations overall of his team. And I cannot emphasize enough, he might have ended up with the most saves on that team, but there are so many more saves or interceptions, particularly, which he should have made. And so the efforts of Mex, absolutely pointless. The efforts of Rico in trying to, sort this defense out, completely pointless. We talk about good offenses being able to stretch defenses apart. Team Small Brain are doing that to themselves, and it's why they are now on the precipice of another 3-0 sweep.
Backflip Boys are... A lot of credit still needs to be given to the Backflip Boys. They're just solidly trudging on through, making the plays they need to make, keeping the amount of mistakes on their end to a minimum, and that allows them not to have a heart-clutching moment where all of a sudden Team Small Brain can pounce on them and use that. Nope, they're just solid as solid can be. It's not the flashiest of the plays, but it's definitely getting them results, and even more on top of that. It's just that, just like Post Game Strong, just like Mind Games eSports, now, same is happening with Team Small Brain. It's all that shooting yourself in the foot, and we really ought to take those guns away from them, because they're just gonna hurt someone, and they're trying to hurt their opposition, but they're definitely hurting themselves in the process as well. What could be potentially their last chance? Team Small Brain need to figure something out. Mex and Rico, I don't know, get their head back into the game, try to figure out something in between each other, and then let Peta get on the end of that one. If he can set up Peta with a great opportunity, I think results are gonna come. As long as Peta is also still in this game and not just throwing his hands up in the air and saying this is over. Not a good start for Team Small Brain. The Backflip Boys just break it down with one small touch after double commit on the backboard. Just leaves Team Small Brain without anyone in net.
Jam, I really think you're calling out the wrong person here. I'm sorry to disagree with you
Please do.
So blatantly, but I really do think you're calling out the wrong person. I don't think Mex has done much wrong in this season at all. In fact, I'd say he's probably been Small Brain's best player, actually, with the amount of good opportunities, as if on cue. coming in with an equalizing goal. Excellent double touch. It was a loose pass from Sarius that nobody went up for, and he capitalizes on that mistake, punishes it well. 1-1. I look back to that goal that Backflip Boys just scored. It was Pater and Rico on the backboard. I don't care which one of you deals with it. Only one of you should be dealing with it. It was a double commit, which led directly to a goal. And I agree with you in the sense of Pater should be on the end of these shots. He's got the mechanical skill to make things happen. As we just saw there, excellent shot on target. Trust Rico to deal with the defense, because right now, the rotations are still super off for Team Small Brain. Infield pass to Mex doesn't convert, but again, just keep Pater in that offensive half. And yeah, just trust that Rico has got your side of the court covered.
It would be a good decision in between. Look at that, a counterattack. Rico has to score it. He does.
There you go.
Alrighty, Team Small Brain.
There you go.
It took you just a while, but a great clear, and really Backflip Boys very extended. I don't know who that was on the right flank, but in that situation, I think they were going way too aggressive. Challenge. Somebody had to be in the midfield line, somewhere in the middle even of the field. Because one lost challenge and bam, you have the ball rushing straight to the side of Backflip Boys and nobody's gonna get it. And with Max really just immediately proving in point our league, well, it's seemingly... How can I possibly disagree with that one then?
It's a strange game, isn't it, Rocket League, sometimes, where... Oh boy, Sarius finally putting it through. That ball was teetering on going in from, what was this? Yeah, the original shot from Sarius, nigh on unsavable. Garsha running interference. Sarius puts it away. Going into this game, Jam, I was ready to say at some point during this series, if I'm Team Black Diamond, I'd be really worried. Because again, I maintain, the only reason that Team Black Diamond won their series against Mind Games, or sorry, against Post Game Strong rather, was because Post Game Strong made mistakes that Team Black Diamond capitalized on. It was not really much that Team Black Diamond did in the way of creating plays themselves. And against a Backflip Boys team where the rotations are looking clean, looking strong overall, I would be super worried if I was Team Black Diamond, because how can you score against a team that's not making many mistakes at all? All of a sudden, Backflip Boys are making mistakes left, right, and center in this game, and maybe it's complacency, maybe it's nerves to try and close out the series. Sweep would do them world of good again. And there's your response, James T. Kirk. There is your response, James T. Irelite Kirk. Sarius, after that unsavable shot earlier on, dunks on Rico, beats out Pater, and has dragged his team into a 3-2 lead on the stroke of half-time.
Just how insistent Sarius was on that approach. He didn't take no for an answer several times. You could see it in the replay. That ball was just bouncing back and forth. Rico immediate answer straight from the kickoff. Doesn't care about the beauty of the goals that the Backflip Boys are scoring. When Sarius now himself just slows the game a tad down, and that dunk opens up the play by Max. Then Rico comes in strong. Attack still a strong suit for Team Small Brain as long as they can get the ball past the Backflip Boys lines. And it's just smooth sailing for them. No misses in open nest, thankfully.
Oh, I'm so proud of Mex, Jam. You don't even understand. You don't even understand. After that, again, I laughed at him openly for his performance a while back. He's the last man in net again. Not much he could do about that one. But last week, although it was in fits and starts, he turned up. This week, he is positively the best player on this team. Defense all over the place. Pater takes control. 3-3 the scoreline with just under 2 minutes left. Garsho looking for the dunk. Pater holds strong. Sarius tries to get it around Rico. Doesn't happen. The bump on Rico now. Kartu round one. And that's an open net. But Garsho and Kartu can't decide which one should shoot the ball. 4-3. The chance goes away.
Well, as now it's the Backflip Boys getting a tattoo lost on the field. Too eager to bring that ball into the net. And by that point, that if somebody finally decides to do something, Team Small Brain returns back in the defense. It only took Backflip Boys and yet another attempt at that, another misplay. And Mex's initial touch was really brought this on Rico. Valiant effort for him to block it. But from that situation, the ball most likely would be stuck somewhere, if not on the ground, that in the air. And Backflip Boys were looking aimed at that net already the moment that attack started.
Once again, I pay my weekly compliments, it seems, to the lovely Heku. Thank you so much for the big raid. Welcome, folks, to the BESL Season 4, week number 4, where we're currently watching Backflip Boys battle away for the LAN places, looking to overcome Team Smallbrain, a team nestled, just trying to survive, basically, at this point in the league. Backflip Boys are nearly, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, of they're nearly onto a 3-0 sweep here for Team Smallbrain. But Team Smallbrain with a spirited fight back here in game number 3. We saw pretty good stuff in game number 2 as well. But ultimately, the overall quality, I think, in rotations from Backflip Boys, it's too much, I think, for a Team Smallbrain team who's really not turned up today in that area of rotations, Jam. I genuinely think if their rotations were fine, like they had been from time to time against Mind Games, they could be well in the series. They just haven't turned up in that one area, and it's costing them big time.
It is just taking out so much power from their collection of strategies they can use, really. And now, as the time runs out, Team Smallbrain will have to get a full court carry to do something about it. Pass to Peta, though. But Peta today hasn't impressed me at all. I do believe we have we named them as the MVP of last week? I do believe so.
They were the MVP last week, yeah. 100%. And
now, I'd say it's a far cry from what we saw last week. Peta not performing this week. Right now, at the very... Look at his stats for this game. And really paints a picture for the whole series. He has not been present today. His mind was wandering elsewhere. And all that quality, all that amount of goals and assists, mostly goals, because he's more of either an individual player or a player that takes the passes from other players. Just wasn't working out for him. Was it due to the fact that Rico and Max couldn't create those chances? It is arguable. This also, I think, played into it. But more often than not, I think Peta no longer was everywhere in all the same places at once. Something that we've seen from him in the previous weeks. He was just on the field, but absolutely lost.
I don't know what the game plan was, Jan, but it didn't work. It really didn't work. And again, I'll bring back that Arceus argument. Why change? I know that the car often isn't the root of, basic problems in Rocket League, but why change it up to invite the possibility of problems arising? I think Peta just played super poorly today. I think he was out of rotations more times than anyone else that we've seen so far this week. His defensive play in general was really bad. And though he got the odd goal here and there, he was nowhere as much of a threat in the air. I think mostly because, take it from me, right? Back when the Wasteland DLC first released, I was like, oh, what should I choose? Should I choose the Ripper? Or should I choose the Zippy? I'll choose the Ripper. Take it from me, the Ripper is not a card that you want to be trying mid-air dribbles with. It's just, that's not the car of choice for you. It doesn't matter who you are. I bet you even Squishy Muffins wouldn't be able to get the sort of crazy plays that he can do week in, week out with a Ripper. Or maybe he can. He is Squishy Muffins, to be fair. I still think in terms of ease of movement, the Octane was the better choice. I don't know why Peta didn't go for it. Does it matter overall? Not really, because he played super badly. Just a bad day at the office. And Mex and Rico don't have enough quality between the pair of them to bail them out against one of the best teams in the league, ultimately. And that is where Backflip Boys now find themselves. They're back in second after falling to third because Team Black Diamond won. They were on 3-1, and now Backflip Boys are on 3-0. But now we have the grudge match, Jam. Now we have the match that we've all been waiting for. This could be the decider between who goes to LAN and who doesn't. After the break, Backflip Boys are up again, and they're up against Team Black Diamond. What a crucial series this is going to be. We'll see you after the ads.
Ylimaa Tsekin on lavasti nuo Gallinistin draftet Slavian samaan muotoon ja on nuottaiksi salava ja viņš atgādināt vēlreiz šogad.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā viss varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Folks, it's us again. It's Jarv Jam, it's our league, it's even more Baltics eSports, specifically Rocket League. And yet another match has gone past. Team Smallbrain couldn't find much against the Backflip boys. It was a rough effort for them. Some of the players that we weren't expecting more from just couldn't perform on the field, while the Backflip boys, team specifically for me, that was could have could have some questions. I had at the very least some questions about them. Nope, erased all of this questions, or not erased, but definitely answered all of these questions, looking as solid as ever, and making sure that they're still staying at the top of the board with an unbeaten result. The next series might prove a little bit of a challenge. I'm Jam, still with our league. I think we'll just quickly talk about the previous game, because I think a lot of analysis was done throughout that series, and at this point we'll just be repeating the same old things. But it felt like the Backflip boys had a game plan. They've executed that game plan to perfection. Like, I can't possibly say that the Backflip boys at any point were struggling, like misplaying little mistakes here and there that didn't really cost them that much. As there was a solid game from Team Small Brain. I believe that game number 2, when they brought their opposition within 2 goals by the very end. And actually, which one that is?
Well, game number 3 as well.
Game number 3, yeah, apologies.
Decided by 1 goal. Yeah.
It was indeed game number 3. Other than that, you wouldn't possibly say that that the Backflip boys were really dropping the ball, so to speak. No, they were all there, all solid. The least amount of mistakes I think we've seen today from perhaps even any team. But now the big test comes, though, and that big test finally might show what Backflip boys are made of, because their previous series, I wouldn't exactly say they were against the strongest of the rosters. If we just quickly take a look, they won against Bad Dudes, they won against Mind Games eSports, they just won against Team Small Brain. This will be their 4th game. But here's where the tests begin, because this will be the game against Team Black Diamond. They still yet to play versus Imperial and versus Time Chasers. While they're currently comfortably sitting at 3-0 and with chances to get that 2nd spot for LAN, it might all come down crashing if from this point on game become too hard for the Backflip boys.
Yeah, so often when we talk about must-wins, we're talking mostly about relegation and how you need to win in order to keep your survival hopes alive. Not often do you say that something has got to be a must-win or so early into the season, but I really do think that Backflip boys, if they want to cement themselves as the 2nd best team in the league, they absolutely have to beat Team Black Diamond, because you said it yourself, Jam, we were chatting in the break just then. Looking at the run-in, the advantage that Team Black Diamond has is that all 3 of the teams that they now have to face are in the bottom half of the league, whereas Backflip boys have both Time Chasers and Imperial to beat. So if they are to beat Team Black Diamond here today, first of all, it puts them off on 4-0. Their LAN playoff hopes are very much in their hands. Imperial is an interesting roadblock. I think the Backflip boys are good enough to deal with them, because I've not been overly impressed with Imperial overall.
That's true.
And when it comes to Time Chasers, they can afford a loss to Time Chasers, because they would have already beaten Black Diamond, who would have had a best case scenario of 2 series lost over the course of the season. Looking at it in the context of today, Black Diamond were able to beat Post-Game Strong through mistakes made by Post-Game Strong. There wasn't much good offense coming out from Black Diamond. I think they're very much gifted a couple of those victories, right? And, of course, Post-Game Strong took a game off Black Diamond as if to prove that point even further. The Backflip boys game was an interesting one, or the series rather was a really interesting one, because you have Team Small Brain, who turned up pretty well in game number 1, fell apart a little bit at the end there. They absolutely didn't turn up in game number 2, and then they really turned up in game number 3, and a lot of those goals were gifted through defensive mistakes or overcommitments from the Backflip boys. And I think that's more to say that Team Small Brain's offense, in particular through mechs today, was actually pretty good. They converted on not a lot of chances made, and Backflip boys, yeah, I think they were kind of the architects of their own errors in a way, which is perfect for Black Diamond. Black Diamond can convert on those chances all day long, but what will worry Black Diamond is that Backflip boys looked good in offense, and Sarius in particular is the player that I'll highlight. After that series, he's moved up to top 5 in overall goals scored this season, top 5 in overall assists created this season, top 5 in goals per game this season, top 5 in assists per game. And now we're talking Rocket League. If you have at least a 1 assist per game ratio, what a season you are having. Sarius lies on exactly 1 per game. The only players that beat him are all 3 of the Time Chasers players, and we know how good a team that is. There's no one out-and-out striker. They all help each other, all super creative. Backflip Boys are trying to step up to that tier. They're another team that more often than not relies, well, in the past at least, on the likes of Kartu and Garsho combining, with Sarius often feeding them. It's nice to see Sarius stepping up, taking a bit of control of games and saying, okay, well, I can create for you. We saw that extra goal for Garsho in game number 3 where he passed it into him, nice tap in. But Sarius is getting up the pitch himself and saying, okay, well, if you two aren't going to convert the chances that I'm making for you, I'm going to have a go myself. And he's converting them, Jam, which is really pleasing to see. And that's in particular why I'm putting Backflip Boys just to edge out Black Diamond here. I think it's going to be a Game 5 affair. But I think the Backflip Boys, and in particular Sarius, are playing well enough to see this one out.
Well, you put Sarius on one end. I would like to put Frosty on the other end of this equation. 4th in goals, 6th in assists, 6th in saves as well. And that is just strongly dominating Sarius' approach. But of course, team game, and just because one stat is a little bit off doesn't mean much. 45 shots, and that's 7th place for Frosty in that regard. 4th in shooting percentage. Sarius, of course, is 2nd in shooting percentage, only 2nd to his teammate Kartu. So as a result, as a unit, you can expect the Backflip Boys to get a lot of these chances just working out through. But again, this is with the caveat that the remaining games, including this one versus Black Diamond, are against the teams of their level or perhaps even higher. So that shooting percentage, we might as well see it coming down, 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 and down. Still, it was going to make for explosive series on both of these ends. This is one today that might go to that 3-5.
Yeah.
Our league is saying it's gonna go to the Backflip Boys. I am excited to see how Black Diamond can respond, and then we'll be able to, well, either celebrate and point fingers at our co-casters, or well, we'll see what's gonna happen. Folks, let's start this game number 1 between Team Black Diamond and the Backflip Boys.
Arguably, the most important game of both of these teams' seasons begins here. Sarius with the early possession. It's him and Kartu. Kartu looking for the bump. Keo avoids and makes the save. Important one there. Keo and Primer bumping away. Primer takes control. Shot goes wide. Sarius to the far wall. Frosty to bring this one back in. Limited boost to work with, however, but still manages to make a nuisance of himself in defense. Sarius lofts it up high. Keo around the corner. Kartu not able to make the save, and that's an early advantage to Black Diamond. Primer with an earlier bump on the teammate, but at least he converts this.
Pressure, 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 and more pressure. Keo steals the ball from Sarius, and then Primer is just in the position to attack. One extra miss from Team Black Diamond, good clear from Backflip Boys, and I felt they would have a perfect chance to start counterattack. Frosty was staying in attack for way too long, but Team Black Diamond, with their immense pressure on their opposition, managed to convert all of those 3 players being in the attack into an early goal, and now continuing the same pressure. Backflip Boys right now sitting in their own half, trying to figure out how on earth they're going to put that ball past Team Black Diamond.
And thinking time is something that Black Diamonds have had, of course. They played in match number 2 of today, whereas Backflip Boys are coming straight off the back of their series to enter this crucial grudge match. Kartu with the infield pass, nobody there following up. Keo ends up being a good back pass to Primer, sorry. Going back to Season 3 habits there. Sarius onto the backboard. And Frosty lies in wait. Good challenge from Kartu. Triple commit on the near wall. And in comes Sarius! And man of the moment, Jam. I feel like this really should have been saved, but either way, it's a tie game.
Team Black Diamond, the moment the ball has stopped
good.
and they were caught in an awkward situation, everyone just brain went into brain freeze mode. Nobody could figure out what exactly to do. In that position, you just go for your normal rotation. You just go back to defaults. And yet they both were scored, and Sarius still on the follow-up. Look at that shot from the flank. Backflip Boys want to extend their lead immediately, and they're getting dangerously close to the net of the Black Diamond. This is going to be explosive. This is what we're seeing from the first opening minutes. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the series will be as teetering on the edge as possible. Drop down. So Prima finds 3 players of Back Blue Boys on that goal line.
And you know what? As much as I can say, oh, should Frosty really have saved that? You know what? The placement from Sarius was beautiful. And talking of beautiful placement, what a pass! Watch this, folks. You won't see much better all season. What a great pick out, and what a great shot from Garsho. 2-1.
Garsho did well. His positioning, his reading of the play was ideal. But what kind of pass is that? Sarius serves it on a silver platter, and the Backflip boys just outwit, outquick. I would like to get a new word going out there. Outquick. Outpace, I suppose. Outquick. Outpace is the correct word, but Team Black Diamond just couldn't keep the track of what Backflip boys were doing.
Right, what a response from Backflip boys. 1-0 down to 2-1 up. Half time. And another infield pass that was teetering so close to becoming a goal. Sarius doesn't get up quick enough, and Prime has got hit his second of the game.
Yeah, the pressure, it happens on the other end of the field as well. Just good attack, testing out what else but the backboard. And Sarius, unlike many of the attempts we've seen previously, he goes for a challenge, just doesn't repeat it quickly enough to get himself in the air earlier. And of course, with the passing plays it was unfolding, Team Black Diamond were able to get in the air that much faster and threaten that much better. Garsho, not on target. This was incredibly close, and team bumps right now between Keo and Frosty, definitely not helping Team Black Diamond's solid defense.
And just got sight of Sarius getting a boost steal, by the way, in the far corner. Primer picking up the boost after it respawns. So good awareness from the Backflip boys. Big clearance coming through. Kartu stops it in the midfield, but look at Primer continuing his way through. Very quiet, I feel, Primer in the post-game strong series. Nice to see him turning up today. Oh, nice to see him turning up in the second half of today, I guess. Sarius gets beaten to the ball by Primer, taken out for his troubles. Keo, not much boost. He's got no boost to work with on this far wall, actually. Not that the orange team knows that, but Kartu picks it up. Tries to bump it over Frosty. 50-50 challenge is met, and finally the clearance does come through. Kartu follows up. Sarius in retreat. Frosty looking for the demo on Sarius. Left to Garsho now. In retreat to Black Diamond. Primer comes in. Kartu should get another big clearance downfield, but he's out of boost. Looking for Garsho. It's the pass down, and Kartu wasn't willing to commit. Sarius was, but Frosty, surely someone in the defense should deal with this. Another touch in from Garsho. Pressure on from Backflip boys. Sarius goes up high now. Primer with another crucial touch, and Kartu takes out Frosty. The ball remains in the blue half. Finally cleared from Primer once again. This guy is standing up where Keo and Frosty are remaining to stay a little bit hidden amongst the grass jam.
Intensity of the game has definitely slipped down. Backflip boys at times are just trying to slow the game even more, just throw a switch that keeps the ball somewhere in the middle, with everyone just not being sure where it's gonna go. And it might be helping them out, but long gone are the starting minutes where teams have been exchanging the goals. While the pressure is still there on both sides, neither of teams seemingly can now break down through the slow play. Frosty, uncontested, find himself an opportunity. Backflip boys let Frosty run a tad too wild, and him approaching from a flank just finds himself a good opportunity. His timing went that much better against Backflip boys.
And it was a big double commit. Garsho needed to get the challenge on Primer, or Sarius needed to just stay in net. And once again, it's Primer involved. He's been involved in all 3 goals. Scored 2 and assisted 1. Big pinch downfield from Garsho. Or from Frosty, sorry. Garsho does stop it, however. Keo in the retreat, and Kartu. Oh, Garsho with a bump. But what a brilliant stop from Keo. And that is going to be game 1 to Team Black Diamond. Grinding it out. They have Primer to thank for this one.
Wow, right. This has turned pretty quickly. But it has done, well, Black Diamonds were just keeping their head in the game up until the very last point, setting up everyone pretty well. And at the very end, that save was crucial. It could have been a 3-0, or rather 3-3.
3-3, yeah.
Too far away from 3-0. Too many goals have already been scored. But this Backflip boys just couldn't get that one specific bump. Too many players to bump out. And Team Black Diamond managed to get on through. Still shows that this series by no means will be a steamroll by one of the sides. This is the closest affair I think that we will see this week. Something that we really say at the start of the day. These are two teams fighting for that land spot, and so you will expect an exchange of blows on both sides. Backflip boys still showing that they can set each other up. That they are like 101s are just right. They know exactly what to do. They have a game plan. You can follow it up. Black Diamond still have a lot more, perhaps, of raw power, so to speak. They can still create chances out of nothing, something that perhaps Backflip boys may need to take a page out of the book from. Something that plays, I mean, where you not necessarily are going for a set play, but something that you just can latch onto and make into a goal, into a play. And really, in a way, seemingly that's exactly what Black Diamond has did. Or, at very least, their conversion rate on chances like that was just a bit higher than that of Backflip boys.
Well, I'll tell you what. After the preview, two things to note. Firstly, defensive frailties are still there for Backflip boys. Two, Primer turning up has really turned on the offense for Black Diamond. They were creative. Again, it was primarily and potentially only through Primer, of course, and Primer getting another demo there. Garsho trying to beat the entirety of the Black Diamond defense. The Backflip boys need to tighten up at the back if they hope to keep out the on-rushing Primer. Keo with a shot, saved by Garsho. Here comes Frosty. Sarius on the backboard, has plenty of boost and is called off by Kartu, but here comes Primer with the further pressure, and it just goes a little bit wide there for Keo to get the actual shot that he needed. Kartu low on boost, not for the first time today. Sarius, nice fake out on the sidewall. Keo, though, with the chip back in. Primer with the drop down to
lovely.
Frosty! And, well, that went wide. It was actually saved by Sarius. It went wide. What a pass from Primer, though.
Yeah, the moment I saw that pass coming through, wasn't near Primer. All right, what options does he have? Dropping it down would have been crazy, but no, a pass, and that's the best option he could have had. And from my angle, I didn't see the goalie in the net. I was thinking this is goal for sure. Bravo to Backflip boys to throw at least someone up there. Black Diamond will immediately return. Too powerful of a shot for Backflip boys to deal with. Keo strikes from an angle, really setting up himself. Trying to figure out Sarius. No, Garsho and Sarius were all getting to this pretty late, but they all decide we're going to go in deep. We're going to save it at the goal line. No, they have chosen wrong. Keo, too much gunpowder in that cannon of his.
Well, now this is very worrying for the Backflip boys. A flawless season up until this point. And last season, remember, they qualified for LAN as the third best team. Well, if you're the third best team in Season 4 of BSL, you're not going to make it. A second for Keo, another involvement for Primer, and that's a 2-goal lead.
Cyrus and Garsho double committing on the same ball, and Garsho going so aggressive on it, he bumps his teammate out of the field, out of the net rather, so just not getting the ball and then hurting your team to even make any other follow-ups. Too aggressive on that play, and Backflip boys pay for it dearly.
Kartu, still 3 minutes to save this game. 2 goals in 3 minutes. Can all change around in 30 seconds, we all know that. Kartu, up high, Keo deals with it. Sarius doesn't beat Frosty to the ball. Frosty along the ground gets the ball round the corner. Kartu only puts it back there. Frosty infield parks. Primer coming in, but Sarius gets there first. Looking to chase up now. Shot. Keo with the save. Garsho again trying to beat the defense on his own. Can't do it. Keo again wins the challenge. Keo stepping up. Frosty stepping up. Garsho over the top of Primer. Can he bump it over Keo? It's 1v1, and Keo does so well to get back in time. Frosty throws it back into the corner to buy even more time for his team. Garsho can't really do much with that ball, though the pressure persists from Backflip boys.
And they're trying to bring the ball into the blue side with any means possible. And at times they don't even allow Team Black Diamond to just cross in through. That's how big their pressure so far is. But demo in the net and a follow-up might just bring the plans of Backflip boys to an end. Team Black Diamond looking for that third goal. That most likely will be the clincher in this one. 2 is still doable. Sarius, something about his clears today is just not clicking right. And this was almost a gift straight to Black Diamond.
Saku sees Garsho, but the pass was so weak. And the second touch from Frosty would have been better off just leaving it to Primary. Had the net just waiting to be scored upon, and that would have been a 3-goal lead and almost certainly game over for Backflip Boys in game number 2. Frosty continues the assault, has the flip reset, I think, but Kartu gets there first on his back, turtling it. Sarius. Keo again. The clear from Sarius poor. And again, the challenge from Sarius poor. He might be on point with his shooting and his passing, but in defense, he's coming up a little short. Keo, straight to Garsho, backboard, but Primer takes out Sarius. Kartu comes in with a boomer, but Frosty with a big save. 45 seconds remain.
Everything that they're trying, getting so close. Backflip Boys just can't get that. Sometimes one last player from Black Diamond. All of the while, the attacks from Black Diamond do not stop. They're still creating something wonderful, and now something that we've been hailing in the previous game no longer perhaps works for Team Black Diamond, rather the Backflip Boys. Their defense is shaky, their touches are more often than not now are going off, or at the very least their misses at that rate when it's really noticeable. And this is those basic mistakes that previously were not happening. Backflip Boys under a lot of pressure, and you can imagine themselves being under even more pressure come game number 3. Because 3 match points for their opposition, for your direct opposition for going for land, definitely at this point, this must be at the back of their heads.
Shut out in game number 2. Black Diamond onto match point and threatening the clean sweep on Backflip Boys. I'm getting flashbacks to Season 3 Jam where we saw Weite and Professional Ball Chasers just sweeping Backflip Boys off to the side. It's why we knew that going into LAN, they were the 3rd best team going in. And on a second tier to everyone else, right? Again, 3rd best isn't good enough this season. And we were talking earlier about the potential for post-game strong, the need to change up the roster, potentially for next season. We're looking at them to potentially get relegated. The fact that Backflip Boys are potentially not going to make LAN, and I realise it's not all over yet, but we're asking them, if Black Diamond are to win this series, to win against Imperial and Time Chasers? I don't know. I think we might be seeing the only other remaining lineup that stuck together after Season 3. Wow.
Man, that's going to be super rough, but sometimes you need to make those changes. Sometimes it just does not work out for you in the long run. You might have your 5 minutes of fame or however long. And then you just have to cut the ends and say, all right, this is going to be it. But for Team Black Diamond, this is going to be an incredible win. To get a series victory against your direct opponent, and with the clean sweep, which is still a possibility, puts a perfect opportunity for them. First of all, game difference immediately goes up. Second of all, if you go to a head-to-head, then this is a win for you. And for Backflip Boys, well, right now this could be their season decider, really. Yeah, they can still finish 3rd, but what good does it give them if they don't go to LAN?
They survive. They almost get there, I guess. Guaranteed place for BESL 5 should it come through. Frosty with the touchdown. Garsho off to the side. Backflip Boys, if they want to win this series, have to perform the reverse sweep. And I think I'm right in saying that we've not seen a reverse sweep in BSL all season, right?
I do believe that's true.
Yeah. So they have to do it for the first time this season. But we're going to say... We're going to say with some degree of certainty. Let's put it that way. Already a good start for Backflip Boys, at least. Not conceded in the first minute and a half. Sarius, if pass. Garsho waits for the opportunity. Comes in a little too late, though. The angle was there. He just chose not to take it.
As game 3 goes on, it is, I think, both teams trying to take it slow. Oof. And with 3 players coming in from Team Black Diamond, this was getting close to the first goal and getting into the lead, forcing Backflip Boys playing from behind. That would have been as good as done for Team Black Diamond. Too dangerous and a miss. Sarius. Too much pressure to get that on target. And no real follow-up, but this allows Backflip Boys to really set up around the midfield line. Get ready for any of the clears, and when the moment comes, bring the ball back through. But the problem is, right now it's Team Black Diamond who's bringing the ball to Backflip Boys. That strategy seemingly not working for them at all.
Kartu's boost conservation. Let's have a conversation about Kartu's boost conservation, shall we? It's been abysmal this season, or not this season rather, but in this series overall. I think whenever the camera's gone on to him, he's more often been on 0 than anywhere above 50. Again, 0 boost. Find yourself some boost, my friend. I realize that boost hogging's not the best strategy. You shouldn't be doing it at this level. But goodness me, you are putting yourself at massive risk. It's like he must be expending it a little bit too much. Again, down to 4 in offense. He's not helping his team by doing it there. He's not helping his team by doing it in defense either. Here he is, but he hands it off straight to Keo. 2 minutes left. Keo looking for the double tap. Sarius gets there first. Frosty, infield pass. It was a shot. Put away. Primer. Kartu away. Straight to Keo. Double commit. Frosty. Can Kartu capitalize? Sarius over the top to Kartu. Looking for the bump, and what a save from Frosty there.
Too slow, too slow. Backflip Boys had a perfect opportunity because Team Black Diamond were caught in their own missed touches. And then yet, when they try to start an attack, a passing play, a simple passing play, they're so slow about it that Team Black Diamond not only have a time to put a goalie in the net, but also just throw someone straight at the ball to remove it to the side. I still dislike what Team Black Diamond right now is doing. Those touches are not relieving the pressure at all. Ball returns immediately to their side. The shots are continuing to come in. It's only through the unfortunate angles, too powerful of shots. Look at that, how much Backflip Boys are currently on Team Black Diamond's neck. And still no goal is coming. Black Diamond really needs just one powerful clear right now is all I'm asking for them, because you need a moment. Because Backflip Boys, sooner or later, are gonna score. Or the worst might come, and Backflip Boys crush on the net, don't get the result, 3 players overcommitted, and Black Diamond do get that clear. And that's how you get that 1 goal. And right now, our league, 1 goal is all that both of these teams are need to get this game free.
I mean, on the flip side though, Backflip Boys' shooting percentage is going to be plummeting. I think they should be 1-0 up already. Really. Sarius, Garsho, again, another shot that goes wide. Just put it on target, lads, and you'd be scoring. Weak touch over to the side from Kartu. Here comes Keo, looking to come off the top of the box. No, he lays off. Frosty, beaten. Primer, infield. Frosty running interference, goes high. Big save coming out from Garsho. Another overtime. Garsho looking for the flick on. Another missed touch from him. Primer lofts it up for Frosty to go on target. This should be an easy save. Garsho deals with it. Final attack going to come in from Team Black Diamond here. Garsho down to the floor. No, Keo puts in once again. Sarius challenges, and it is going to be overtime in game number 3.
Oof. Backflip Boys, really interested to see just how many opportunities they put at the very end of this, because they spend so much time in that blue half, and Team Black Diamond, for a solid minute, were looking helpless. Here, all it takes for them to continue the same avenue of attack, too high, and not enough fall. Really, they just immediately fall back. They see that this ball is just not going to go anywhere. We're going to play it safe. And I think this is what right now is saving them, because Team Black Diamond, having forced to play against 3 players in defense of Backflip Boys, are not always able to set up a good play of their own. And really, their passes right now are struggling a lot, which just really gives Backflip Boys even more chances to still survive in this series. It's still match point for Team Black Diamond, but they're not utilizing it just yet.
Frosty over the top of one. What a big save from Sarius. Garsho with the challenge. Keo on target. What a boomer from Keo. And that is the 3-0 sweep on Backflip Boys. Chokes in chat. What a massive result that is.
Boomer, absolute boomer, and Backflip Boys, I'd say just give this to their opposition. Backflip Boys couldn't figure out where that ball is going to go. Another touch to the side. And third player coming out of the net was too late for it to really make any difference. Better positioning would be to stay in net and just try to make a save. Keo, that's a normal rotation. He didn't do anything of the ordinary, but since two players of Backflip Boys were not contesting him in the slightest, the third last player and goalie just goes and is not even close to the ball when the shot happens. Keo just puts it straight on target. And shot-wise, I'm surprised to see that it's even Stevens stand to each side. It honestly felt like the Backflip Boys just poured a truck worth of shots at Black Diamond. And yet,
it's kind of the point though, Jam. They had so many shots towards the target. I'm convinced that had all of those shots gone on target, we'd be talking about double the shots in total. Wasteful from Backflip Boys. Shut out for the second time in 2 games. 3-0 swept. And you know what, Jam? It is like a repeat of last season, where they started well, they came out the blocks pretty good, and then they just kind of just faded away into obscurity after that. I think it was the damaging first loss against WeIT in number 2. And then losing against professional ball chasers as well with a 3-0 sweep. Well, they have to beat Imperial and Time Chasers now to get to that.
My God,
I don't. They're not going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. I think that is their chance of, personally.
Wow.
Especially on that performance. Jam, I'm disappointed in them. Let me have my rant. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that Garsho was so wasteful with the shots. I don't like the fact that Sarius, after being so good in offense, was so weak in defense. Where was Kartu all game? The question was trying to retrieve boost. Again, he was on 0 boost so much of that game. You look at the individual factors, and it's no wonder that Black Diamond won that. It really is no wonder. Everything lines up for a Black Diamond win, and it's everything that Backflip Boys has been so good at keeping out of their game. All came in one game to haunt them. I'm disappointed. I really am. I thought they were going to do better. I really did.
Sarius, Cartoon, Garsho, you don't want to disappoint our league. No. But that is nothing but of a disappointing performance. We thought that after beating all the weaker teams, Backflip Boys' goal amounts, shooting percentage might go straight down. We didn't expect it to go straight down immediately. Look at how low it has gotten. 9% for shooting. That's how poorly Backflip Boys have done it. On 23 shots, they've only converted 2. Good news, all of these 2 goals were assisted, but I'd say the sample size is too small. And Team Black Diamond, just by the virtue of scoring a little bit more, 6 goals, 5 assists, they get through this. And Backflip Boys just put himself in such an awkward situation, losing to their direct opponents right now, and it's a lot to claw back into the season, getting back into the LAN. And right now, their chances, their stock on the market, I'd say, has just dropped down significantly. Everyone's screaming, sell. And no wonder. Despite their performance in the previous series, they just couldn't perform at the same level. And seemingly some of those harbingers that we perhaps saw in their series against Team Small Brain reared their ugly head yet against versus Team Black Diamond. And as a result, what I expected to be a 3-2 series, I was thinking Team Black Diamond ended up being a complete 0-3 sweep, with Backflip Boys' performance really one of the worst we have seen as of late.
But let's give a positive shout out to Primer, where he was missing against post-game Strong. Wow, he stepped up in a big way in this series. Every single game, he was involved in the crucial goals. And I think the one exception actually was the overtime goal to win the entire thing. That was purely down to the Backflip Boys defense going AWOL and Keo placing the perfect shot after coming in through natural rotation. Like you said, he was getting in the goals in both shooting in assisting, creating excellent chances. He was there in defense as well. And I think that's going to mean a lot to him, of course. Spectre disbanding after Season 3, the 4th team to make it to LAN, of course, along with Backflip Boys, Reight, and Professional Ball Chaser. He moves to Scavenge eSports, and Keo and Frosty have looked all the better for it. They were really quiet in Game 1, but as confidence grew in the team, they really got into Games 2 and 3. It was funny actually seeing Frosty there with the most shots of anybody in Game number 3, 7 on target, not converting into a goal. One of the top goal scorers, Scavenge. But whereas Backflip Boys' stock has dropped, I think Primer's stock is going to have absolutely soared. I said it at the start of the season. What a pickup for Scavenge, now Team Black Diamond. And, well, we said it at the start of the series, Jam. Whoever wins this match is surely the second favourite to make their way to LAN. It is a long way back for Backflip Boys now to rescue their LAN hopes.
Well, this question has now been answered, and well, Jam, I think today is only left for us to go quickly through what exactly has happened today, see how the teams are positioned, pick the MVP, of course, and talk a little bit about what will be happening in the upcoming weeks, specifically the HyperTown. Yes, the tickets are still available, you can buy them. I'll tell you later when. For now, go to HyperTown.Pro. And as you listen to this, just check out what exactly will be in store at one of the biggest game, cosplay, tech expos in Baltic States. One way or the other, Time Chasers started this day off strong with a victory against Mind Games eSports. It wasn't the same stomp as Time Chasers were able to do against Post Game Strong, but it was clearly a game that was Time Chasers. Mind Games eSports were hoping that their brilliance might shine a little bit more on the field. It was not to be. Flake was missing one of their driving forces behind Mind Games eSports. Breast Quest came in as a sub in place of Timotheus. Couldn't exactly perform at the same level, although some of the things that he has done were still, I'd say, as close as to getting to upsetting Time Chasers. Still, it's a complete package, and as a complete package, Time Chasers were able to sweep Mind Games eSports. Post Game Strong took one game off Team Black Diamond.
Yes.
And questions were raised about Team Black Diamond. Is this their day? They looked weak. Post Game Strong were looking as if, okay, maybe this is the week where we can finally break something out. Not this week, not against Team Black Diamond. 3-1 is a better scoreline than 3-0 that I had perhaps anticipated, but it still puts Post Game Strong in 0-4, still in that company with Mind Games eSports, no getting away from them. Team Small Brain lost to the Backflip Boys, putting them a little bit lower. And that one, it's just that Team Small Brain, previously, all that brilliant stuff that they were showing, I don't think they've been able to show up today. They weren't late, they were here, they seemingly were in person, but it seemed like some sort of the spirit was missing. Some crucial ingredients, some Michael's special juice or whatever it was in Space Jam. They didn't fill up on that, and Team Small Brain were missing on the field, including their star player Peta. And while Rika and Max were trying to create a lot on the field, it's just that coherence between all the Team Small Brain players seemingly was missing. And then at the very end, it was a sweep that I don't think both of us have expected, but it's the Backflip Boys just falling to the ways of Team Black Diamond 3-0. Putting Backflip Boys in a situation where they need to win some incredible games, including that one against Time Chasers. And for Team Black Diamond, it's, hey, we're now smooth sailing toward that second spot. Our biggest opponents right now would be us. If we get overconfident, complacent, or start smacking our microphones, then only then I feel like the Team Black Diamond will let that second spot out of their grasp. Again, this is all considering that the Time Chasers will hold down to that first spot and the perfect 7-0 record.
Yeah. It's not often that I'm disappointed in a player and I apply the player of the tag to them in the same week. Primer went MIA against Post Game Strong. Was pretty disappointing. It's not that he played particularly badly, but he played great. But his influence on what was their biggest game of the season to date against Backflip Boys was unmistakable. What a leader on the field to get involved in almost every goal that they scored. And even though he did go MIA against post-game strong, that his teammates Keo and Frosty, they were the ones to carry the team to victory there. His presence didn't really affect that game. And so for his presence being there when it really, truly mattered, I think Primer is going to be my play.
I'm going to choose Primer as well. While, again, Frosty shown some great stuff for that team, it wasn't the same presence that Frosty has usually had. He still definitely didn't drop the ball, but he perhaps was a little bit overshadowed by what Primer has shown compared to the previous week, sometimes when he was missing. So my MVP trophy goes to Primer as well. And I feel like he really should be pretty confident with his approach. So let's take a quick look at the overall standings after this week 4. Time Chaser still at the top. What a big surprise. Team Black Diamond sitting in the second spot with a 4-1 result. 1 game in tow over Time Chasers, but this really in this situation, well, Time Chasers still obviously have a chance to drop the game. Still have 3 more games to play. But we're expecting Time Chasers to make that top spot their own. Backflip Boys in third after losing to Team Black Diamond. Their perfect run is now at a close. They were unable to continue that good run, but Team Black Diamond just too tough of a cookie to crack. Imperial in fourth, only 3 games played, and together with Bad Dudes in fifth. You'll definitely see both of these teams next week as they have skipped this one. Team Small Brain, Mind Games eSports, and Post Games Strong rounding up the table. Team Small Brain still with 1 win. 1-3 result versus Mind Games Esports and Post Game Strong's 0-4. These will be 3 teams sort of just battling it out seemingly for the bottom of the standings right now. Spots from 5th to 8th are still those teams that will be relegated, or at the very least just thrown out of the league is not the word. We're much kinder about that thing around here in BSL, but they will have to requalify again if they finish in any place 5th or lower. While top 2 teams will, of course, go to LAN, and teams from 3rd to 4th spot will be, well, staying where they are and gearing up for next season.
I thought, forgive me if I'm wrong, I thought it was 7th and 8th that get relegated. Everyone else is in there for next.
I might have the wrong information on my mind, and let me check
that,
that. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
It was the case in Season 3, yes, but in Season 4 it's even better. It's even better because you get more teams. And actually, really interesting. Again, we sort of hinted at the type of run-ins that Backflip Boys and Black Diamond both have. Black Diamond face the teams that currently occupy 6th, 7th, and 8th for their run-ins. Now, you could be looking at that positively, naively, and saying, they're not going to lose another series to date. Surely. They've got LAN sewn up, and certainly from what that James T. Irely Kirk guy was saying, Backflip Boys are out of it. They face Time Chasers and Imperial, both 4. No chance to go to LAN. But here's the thing, Jam. Those bottom 3 teams are going to be fighting for their lives in the next few weeks. Because if they don't win games, they do get relegated. So, as much as I am confident that Black Diamond should have this with the quality that they have on board, never say never. It's not over until the fat lady can like. I'm sure I'll have some by next week.
Right, actually,
I'm not going to be here next week. Actually.
Oh no.
I'm not here next week, but someone will be. They can come up with the analogy.
Man, I took a quick look in the Rocket League Baltics Discord, and Frosty is asking for Keo to be the MVP of this week. Or he said he's going to start a riot. Interesting approach. They're saying they have been playing 2 versus 3. I have a slight assumption that maybe one of the players were having technical issues all through the way. Haven't answered my question just yet, but we'll stick with Primer. I think both of us.
Primer as well.
Yeah, both of us going into the segment, we're thinking of Primer. So, I think that's it on the basis of games for this week. Definitely no more series. We don't have a secret series to spring upon you, as much as we wish to do that. Just a couple of closing words. Don't forget that you can still buy tickets to HyperTown Expo in Tallinn, happening November 23rd and 24th in Tallinn. Go to HyperTown.pro to get those tickets, as well as more information, because cosplay events are happening there. You can register for that in both the Cosplay Alley there was basically if you want to cosplay as someone or make a costume or just watch a lot of great cosplay, go to HyperTown, be there in November. Cosplay is one of us, perhaps. I mean, everyone just goes for anime characters and like movie characters or game characters. No, if anyone goes there,
just come in a sweater. Come in a sweater and you're cosplaying as me.
Exactly.
Sorted.
Sweater, eyeglasses, and bam, you have yourself an Our League cosplay. Or me, you just get a flannel shirt and bam, you have a beautiful Jar of Jam cosplay as well. As well as cosplay events, the general tech expo and everything. Of course, the finals for CSGO, Rocket League, and Guns of Boom will be played there, as well as a one-day event for 23rd of November. If you just want to see eSports, you can just get a one-day ticket. If you want to get a two-day ticket and see the cosplay on the second day, that's also a possibility. Of course, if you're a group of people, if you're a student, if you're coming as a family, or get a discount for those tickets, so also it's pretty valuable. If you just want to come there and crash the party, so to speak. And of course, if you can't make it to Tallinn, it is a possibility. There's still a chance for you to win some cool prizes every single Wednesday starting at 7 p.m. local time. That's actually like in 1 hour if you really want to figure out what time it is, where and what. You can win prizes by earning points in PUBG and CSGO challenges. For that, you go to BESL.Pro. That's BESL.Pro. To get more information as to how you can participate, what are other prizes, what are the current standings, what else can you do. It's a fun way to spend your Wednesday evenings. So, early. This has been week 4. Since you won't be here for week 5, give me your quick predictions for week 5. What are going to happen? We don't even know the matches are going to be happening, but just like, what are you seeing in the future?
Rocket League will be played.
Bold statement. Bold statement.
Pretty confident of that one.
All right, well, you've heard it here first, folks. Rocket League will be played next week right here on BSL Rocket League stream. Of course, during the week, CSGO will be happening on the respective Lithuanian and Estonian channels. PUBG and CSGO will be played on Saturdays for the main Latvian stream. So if you're interested in that, stick around. More information will be on your screens after this ad break. But for now, that is it. It's a shame. The day has flown by once again. But that will be it from myself. That's Jar of Jam. From him, that's Our League. And I will see you next week. Our League will see you in 2 weeks. He's just getting himself a little bit of a rest. And hey, stay fresh, stay frosty. Just like our very own Black Diamond winner, Frosty. And we'll see you in some combination, one form or the other, next week for more Rocket League. See you.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you and us and me. Switch up. the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.